Next on America's Day at the Races, it's live coverage from New York City's racetrack at Aqueduct. After a failed turn on the Triple Crown Trail, Andiamo Alfirenze returns to sprinting. He'll try to notch a second stakes victory in today's Damon Runyon. In Hot Springs, Arkansas will bring you the final 6 races on the Sunday card, including 3-year-old fillies in their featured 8th race. Effortlessly Elegant seems to want the lead. She gets another chance to go long after missing the break. Cost her all chance in her initial attempt. And after back-to-back graded stakes win at Oaklawn, where does Last Samurai fit into the older horse division? We'll look back at his Essex victory and what's next for this Dwayne Lucas trainee. All that and more coming up on this Sunday edition of America's Day at the Races on FS1. Good to have you with us. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Sun is shining. It's a beautiful Sunday afternoon here at South Ozone Park. We're getting set for the Late Pick 5 coming up, which will include that Damon Runyon, Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. And in that race, we're going to see a horse who connections had a talented 2-year-old. They got caught up a little bit. You got to see where your horse fits in. Tried the Triple Crown Trail, didn't work out. Now it's back to doing what he does best.
I guess when you have a horse to have to frenzy fire, it's not unreasonable to get a little bit excited about him. He's talented. I think what concerns me is that he couldn't even make the lead in these distance races, and he was a horse that speed was his weapon, and you wonder if cutting back, if he'll still have the kind of speed he had here, where he ran a sensational race just 2 weeks after trying the Champagne against the very, very talented Acoustic Avenue for trainer Christophe Clement. I just wonder, where is Andiamo Alfirenze? Is he a horse that's just crying to get back in sprints? Or is he a horse that might just not be as good as he was as a 2-year-old? He is the big question mark of that race, but we know in there's a lot of talent somewhere.
It was hard to believe. Yes, stretching out, he couldn't get the lead in the Jerome, he couldn't get the lead in the Withers. And a lot of times you see horses cutting back in distance too, even if they are super quick like he is, it dulls that speed a little bit. Is he the same horse? Questions to answer in that feature later.
Yeah, and with East Coast Girl coming out, there's a lot of speed coming out of the race, and if they're not aggressive with Don't Lose Cruise, could even a horse like Loom Boldly maybe get away with a little murder on the front end. Interesting race, small field, but there's a lot of little subplots.
Look forward to that. That's race 8 on the card. 5 Eastern start time for that Damon Runyon.
Yeah, I mean, what's up, bro, right? Last time, got the perfect trip, got the fast pace, Looms boldly involved, so you know he's going to rate. Are they going to rate Don't Lose Cruise? They tried a mile last time, too far for him, but they stalked before and he won. Looms boldly's going. That's the one thing I'm sure of. Now, I like Don't Lose Cruise, but a friend of mine, it's a sharp guy, made a very good point about the race, saying, what if they just let Looms boldly go too slowly on the front end?
We'll see. Don't Lose Cruise to another horse cutting back in distance. He's shown a lot of talent sprinting. Ran a huge number, biggest number he ever ran, second start of his career, and he never got back to it.
Yeah, you always wonder about horses like that. You know, sometimes it's circumstance. It's hard to know, and you talk about it a lot in the show. One-number horses. The worst thing you can do in most cases, as a general rule, take a short price on a horse off of just one number.
We'll get to that coming up in a bit. The feature, meanwhile, at Oaklawn, 3-year-old fillies, mile and a 16th in that 8th race. It's an allowance optional claiming field. We talked about Effortlessly Giant. Tried to stretch out. Didn't work, did not get out of the gate well for Norm Cassie. Stellar Lily, Speedster, did stretch out, did get the lead, and went gate to wire. Let's bring in Paula Duca for more on the feature today. Paulie.
Yeah, it's an interesting feature, Greg, because when you look at Effortlessly Elegant for Norm Cassie, he had high expectations for her, and she just did not get out of the gate. Now, Stellar Lily, you know, first time going around 2 turns, she just got to the front end and did it pretty easily. Now, some people might say the sloppy racetrack carried her around, but the race before that, I thought she was progressing. The race before that, she lost to Classy Bridget, who obviously is in great form. And that was the first time she got Lasix. She's improved since she's gotten Lasix. Now, she's got to face winners for the first time in here. And, you know, with a couple scratches in here, does Effortlessly Elegant go to the front end? To Stellar Lily. It's going to be really interesting what happens in the first part of this race. And I guess you can't take Charge Brianna out of it at all. I know that she runs her races from way out of it, but, you know, in a shorter type field, she might be a little bit compact, and it might turn out to be who's got the best kick home. But we'll see if Stellar Lily can step it up today.
Paulie, thanks. She's one of few, and you can't discount anything from Dwayne Lucas right now in Hot Springs. One of few that wants to come from off the pace in that race.
I agree. There are 3 scratches in the race, and it'll be interesting. Norm Cassie's horse, we think that the 2 is the speed, and it's interesting looking at the pace projector in time from U.S. They don't have her anywhere near the lead, but I think it's because of the last race. If she breaks in here, and you have to imagine she will or hope she will, she's supposed to be in front.
That's race 8 on the card from Hot Springs later today. Let's show you what we have coming up, presented by Claiborne Farm. Fast track here in South Ozone Park at Aqueduct. Races 5 through 9, so late. Pick 5 coming up. We're 19 minutes away, and they're fast in Hot Springs as well at Oaklawn. We'll have their late pick 5 coming up. Race away from the start of that sequence. You can play it all by getting signed up and started with Naira Bets. That's the offer, that $200 deposit match sign-up bonus. New members, punch in that code, bonus 200, and bet any track, anywhere, anytime at nairabets.com. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back. We'll look back when we return to this performance in the Cicada from downtown Mischief. Linda Rice, Lady Sheila Stable, and Jose Lezcano. This filly now a perfect 3 for 3 to start her career.
DeMarchelier offers breeders a rare opportunity as the only son of Dubawi standing in Kentucky. Dubawi, one of the world's most celebrated stallions, is now a sire of sires. His top sons at stud are making a name for themselves across the globe. With a picture-perfect pedigree, this son of Dubawi brings one of the world's most potent bloodlines to America. DeMarchelier, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races on our FS1 coverage for the Sunday card from Aqueduct and Oaklawn. It's brought to you in part where you can play it all with Naira Bets. We're going to look back to Saturday and a filly who has started her career the right way. Perfect 3 for 3. Downtown Mischief. Got a little tired in the stretch, but she got the job done.
That was an honest pace. I mean, when the 2 got left, you know, the first thing was you thought maybe the pace wouldn't be as fast, but I think it really heated up, especially when the number 2 horse, the Indiana bred, sort of made that middle move. So they went quickly, and she got caught between horses. I thought it was a very professional effort by her, and arguably the best race she's run. She doesn't really have the conditions left anymore because it's an open race. She'd go into non-winners at 2 opens. We'll see her more stakes, and she's the early favorite for the Bowery on New York Bred Showcase Day in May.
Is, as Linda Rice pointed out, the next likely target for this filly by Into Mischief. Bowery Stakes, May 29th against New York Breds.
And listen, I mean, at some point, they may get aggressive, and they may try a race, whether it's a race like the Test or the Prioress up in Saratoga. You take it one step at a time, but right now, she's a filly that's shown she belongs, and she's a very, very nice runner at 3 for 3 for Sheila Rosenblum, who's had so many good sprinters in the past.
Nice to see this team, too, have another nice horse.
I agree. You see those silks, you have to think of La Verdad.
Was a champion for them. Linda Rice, Lady Sheila Stable, Jose Lezcano, Linda Rice, another 3-win day on Saturday.
But didn't start out so well today with a couple of odds-on prices.
Yeah.
And if you bet against them and you're somehow alive in the pick 5, you're alive for some big money.
Was it 1-5, 2-5 defeated?
I believe so.
For that same barn, who was in but such a tear, won 7 straight at one point.
But this game she's 0 for 3 today. It could be, her career could be over at this point.
I was already wrapped
Hot
up.
as a pistol yesterday.
Training title
over
with the
today.
Linda Rice doing just fine. 4th at Oaklawn, 6-furlong sprint, $20,000 maiden claiming race. And current favorite, that is the 6, Tribal Spirit, Steve Asmussen with his son Keith to ride. Let's go to Paul.
Yeah, one of these really tough races to go to. So actually, Keith had the winner in the first race. He's been riding a lot better and really well, and had a horse come rolling down the center of the racetrack to win race number 1. He does have Tribal Spirit here, and this is a horse that did go a mile last time and now going to come back in distance. And, you know, the issue has been is this horse had gait issues and leaves a lot to, you know, be done. So he's going to come from way out of it. But these kind of races, he does look like he has the best, at least, finish when you come to some of these horses. The 3 Tis Sweet Candy at 5-1 right now is 7-2 on the morning line. You know, this horse, kind of weird in her first race. She was 45-1 that day, and Eric Medellin, like, kind of pushed her up towards the pace. He was kind of in a tight spot, and he tried to duel for the lead, and she just tired. Last time he was a little bit more patient, but she kind of ran the same number. So she went from 45-1 to 4-1. So I don't know what to do there. So when you looked at these type of races, do you look at a first-time starter? Well, Sweet Nelly is getting play here from Michael Puich and Kelsey Haar. They're 0 for 4 together. This filly by Lord Nelson does debut at Lasix. So, I mean, it's a confusing board because I think a lot of these horses have a look. And then on the outside, Star of Tomorrow, the only horse that's really dropping from an open maiden special weight down here to 20. And that's a huge drop. So I can understand the 7-2. I will say this, though. I thought Mama Mule looked okay. In the Army, you know, not by Army Mule. It confused you a little bit by Brody's Cause. I mean, at 17-1, this race here smells of a long shot to me, so that means probably the 6 will probably jog. But I'll tell you right now, Greg, I wouldn't be surprised if a first-time starter wins this race or a bomb.
Paulie, thanks. Well, if it is a first-time starter, that means the 5, Sweet Nelly, with a chance and is taking money at 3-1.
It's taking money, though, because there's nobody else you want to bet, or they like the horse. Hard to really know. The trainer and anyone going with the firster does not have great numbers with firsters. I do like a long shot in here, Paulie. I like the 4 Beer Can Lady to wire the field. Don't know why she's currently 14-1.
Here we go. Late pick 5 time on the Sunday program from Aqueduct. We begin with a 6-furlong sprint. First level allowance race and majority partner coming back on just 8 days rest. Will cut back in distance for the red-hot Linda Rice, although, as we mentioned, beat it odds-on in 2 races today. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And we'll take a look at one that's coming back off a near-year layoff in number 6, Trash Talker for Rob Atras. And while I think he looks incredibly fit, considering the time away, you know, just coming up on that 12 months, he looks fit, he looks defined, really well muscled, good energy, everything that you want to see from a horse coming back off the bench. But as Rob Atras himself said to me, I'm worried there's just a little bit too much other speed in here. And yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with him. But I do think it's promising that they opt to bring him back off of the time away in an allowance race yet again. Very easy, I would think, to drop this one. So a little bit of a vote of confidence. We'll see what kind of trip he pulls. At least he's on the outside. Now, number 7, Ryan's Cat. It's been a long time since he's seen the winner's circle. But he's now 4th off of a layoff. They're making a little bit of a change today with the equipment, taking the blinkers off. This is by far the most fit he has appeared coming in off that little bit of a break from November to January. And maybe he's the beneficiary of sitting in that second flight if things go a little bit quicker on the front end. Just these 2 horses, Greg, are the 2 that made the best impressions on me.
Maggie, thanks. Ryan's Cat, 3-1. He's going to take blinkers off today from that outside post.
Yeah, and based on multis, his price should go up. I think his chances are pretty good here. I know that Maggie's right. He hasn't won in quite a while, not having won a race 2022. It's an interesting, you look at him. He's been in 2 straight races where he's been badly against the track. He's been wide against good gold rails, and he hasn't really run that badly. Prisoner, who's the same price, is the complete opposite. 2 times ago, he was controlling speed in a 3-horse field, and then last time out, he caught a super gold rail. So Prisoner is totally dressed up, and he's 3-1, whereas Ryan's Cat is dressed down if you believe in biases, or you agree with me on the biases. So I think the 7 is very, very interesting, and I'm always happy to hear if I like a horse, and Maggie likes how it looks in the paddock.
Pace-wise in here, who gets to the front in your eyes?
I assume Prisoner's going to go. And I'd like to think Majority Partner is going to go along with Trash Talker. And I think what Majority Partner does will be it depends what the 6 does, Trash Talker. If he's aggressive off it, maybe they try to sit back. If not, Majority Partner as a horse does his best running on the lead, but he can rate.
It seems certainly like the 4 and 6 want to try and battle up front. Could set up perfectly for Majority Partner. Board, though, a little cool on the 5, would you say?
Yeah, I'm surprised. Now, he is a very heavy favorite if I looked at the multi-race bets. So I think his odds are going to come down. But, yeah, I'm surprised that he's sticking at 5-2. I think the money's going to change a lot, though, as we get closer.
There he is. So this horse missed by a neck, stretching out to a mile last time out. Before that, came back off the bench, won sprinting. And this barn, we know we said it's an 8-day return. Linda Rice does this a lot and is very successful coming back this quick.
No, and especially off horses off of good efforts. And he was terrific last time. Maybe a mile a little far for him, but he ran a winning race. He just lost to a better horse or a horse that also got a better trip. So I can't knock him in his current form. And one of the reasons I think Linda Rice will have this success, she strikes while the iron's hot. She's not afraid to come back on short rest if the horse is doing well, and it's worked for her, as you pointed out.
What do we make of Linda Rice right now? Was the hottest trainer certainly on the grounds, overtaking Rob Atras, but then getting beat in 2 races today at odds on. Is that no longer the case?
Well, just as the 10 for 12 wasn't indicative of her overall skills as a trainer, she's not an 80% trainer. She's not an 0 for 3. And you look at who she lost with. Well, Baby Sox, I understand why she was favored. Anybody that's betting maidens off 34 buyers at 1-5 here probably could find better places to bet their money, but it was a terrible looking field. Lost to a first-time starter. The one in the second race coming off a big effort. Maybe just sort of regressed off that and lost to a horse used to have good form. Listen, it goes in cycles. Not as good as 0 for 10 for 12. Not quite as good not as bad as 0 for 3.
Yeah. Back to Oaklawn, this 4th. Going to be loading here momentarily for this $20,000 maiden claiming sprint. 2-1 favorite, still Tribal Spirit for the Asmussen team, father and son. Let's go to Jonathan Kinch and JK. How are you going to play this?
You know, I wanted to try to find something creative to beat the 6 Tribal Spirit here, and the most creative thing I could come up with was the first-time starter, the 5 Sweet Nelly. But at 5-2, I want nothing to do with that. I want a horse who I know has run a few times, hasn't really gotten the job done, but is trained by a Hall of Famer, the winningest trainer in North American history. This horse has speed figures that make competitive against the horses, make this horse much better than the horses that have been running. So the biggest thing, you just got to worry about this first-time starter, and at similar prices. I don't see the value in going to the unknown at 5-2 when I know what I'm getting at 9-5. It's not the greatest win betting race, but that's why they make doubles, pick threes, and trifectas. I'm going to go with the 6 here on top. I think that if you're looking for something underneath, maybe the 3, Tis Sweet Candy, can kind of spice things up.
All right, take it, JK. Tis Sweet Candy, the 3, 5-1. This is start number 3 for her.
I don't know what's so bad about Beer Can Lady. Last race, she came off a layoff of 3.5 months, went to the lead before folding against better horses. On paper, unless the 5 is very fast, she's supposed to be in front of this field. Second off a layoff, slight drop down. Last race not good, but relative to this field, how bad was it? And at 13-1, I can make a case for her, so I bet a couple bucks on her.
And to make Tribal Spirit, it's basically off of the fact that she's with Steve Asmussen. She's had 7 opportunities, the 6, to break her maiden. Several at this level.
She may win. I mean, you could say she's never been favored before, but not my kind of horse at a short price. But obviously, I can see why she's considered the horse to beat.
Here we go with a 4th from Oaklawn. Jim Byers, the call from Hot Springs.
Star of Tomorrow, the last to load. They're in the gate. And they're off. Beer Can Lady dashing off to the early lead. And toward the inside, her name was Lola's, chasing her early on. Then it's Sweet Nellie. And from the outside, Star of Tomorrow recovering from a hesitating break. And Star of Tomorrow is going to range all the way into second here behind Beer Can Lady as they advance into the far turn. The first-time starter, Sweet Nellie, in between horses and vying for the lead. Tis Sweet Candy has dropped back a bit. Tribal Spirit moves up outside of her into fourth. Tis Sweet Candy now fifth. Her name was Lola, dropping back sixth. Mama Mule is outside of her. And trailing the field is Old School Flash, middle of the far turn. It's Sweet Nellie on the outside of Beer Can Lady. Beer Can Lady and Sweet Nellie, their heads apart. And Tribal Spirit gets a clear path 3 wide, and she angles out. Farther out of her is Star of Tomorrow racing in fourth through the stretch. Tribal Spirit is taking over the lead. Just to the inside is Sweet Nellie. It's Tribal Spirit. Sweet Nellie not giving up. Tribal Spirit, Sweet Nellie coming to the wire. Those two head bobbing looked like Tribal Spirit over Sweet Nellie. Then her name was Lola, and Star of Tomorrow could be a photo up top.
First-time starter on the inside made a battle out of this, but the more experienced Tribal Spirit looks like she prevails here for Team Asmussen.
And this is one where Steve Asmussen can absolutely tell his son Keith thank you, because he gave this horse an exceptional ride. Got over the inside, saved that ground, angled out in the stretch, and believe me, when you look at the finish, you don't have to believe me, see it for yourself. If he didn't do everything right on this horse, she wasn't going to get the money, because the 5, Sweet Nellie, was ready to go. She pressed my speed horse, and my horse ran to her odds at the end.
Back to New York and our post-parade for the first leg of this pick 5. Here's Surprise Boss.
Yeah, Surprise Boss looks like prepping for the turf. An okay turf horse, but a much, much better horse than the turf. And turf starts in 3 weeks, Greg.
Manny Franco, look forward to it. Manny Franco on Handsome Cat. I thought this one interesting.
Yeah, it ran okay last time. The race kind of collapsed, but this horse wasn't that far off the pace, so it ran okay.
Joey Freshwater coming out of a stakes race last out.
3-year-old facing olders here. I almost wondered originally, look at this horse, if Linda was putting this horse to make sure the race went for a majority partner.
One of the primary speeds has won 2 in a row, Prisoner.
Yeah, in my opinion, a horse taking money that's get dressed up off some dressed-up performances, but should be the speed.
Even if the board doesn't reflect it, this is the horse to beat, majority partner.
I agree, and by post time will be favored, but not an enormous favorite looking at the doubles.
Trash Talker, that long layoff Maggie talked about off since April of last year.
The problem I have is the big figures were dressed up wins riding biases, so overall probably a little slower, but Rob Atras obviously having a tremendous meet.
And Ryan's Cat, this is your current favorite. Blinkers coming off, Dylan Davis.
I like him, but if he stays at 2-1, I'll be canceling my win bet. This is a ridiculously low price.
Minute to post in the race that kicks off this pick 5. Let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, guys, when I first saw the race, looking at the morning line, and David Aragona does such a great job at the morning line at Naira, I usually trust that he's going to be right. I thought I was going to get 8-1 on Ryan's Cat as well. I do think we'll get a little bit of a drift here. I do think the most likely winner in a pick 5 I played, a horse that I singled trying to get some pick up some value here at 8-1. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that being my pick. But based on the odds, I do have to talk about another horse, and that's the 6 Trash Talker. This horse hasn't run since April. Comes in off a long layoff that Maggie mentioned. But this horse has some wild pace figures in the career, and for this trainer as well. There's always been some talent with this horse. She's never really been able to kind of get it all together. You know, when horses go to the sideline and come back, that's kind of an opportunity for them to kind of get it all together. You know, I'm sure that Andy would come back a much happier gentleman if he would go on vacation or something, right? Well, Trash Talker went on a little bit of a vacation, so I'm hoping the Trash Talker comes back in a better mood, a little bit happier. And I don't know, Maggie, you seemed nice when you came back from vacation as well.
Hey, JK, I'm going on another vacation, so you know me, I'm always smiling. I think Trash Talker is interesting, but the board would say stay away, so I will. And I nearly did pick Ryan's Cat on the outside, but I just feel like that is too short of a price for him. So I'm just going to default to the favorite here, who we'll get to in a moment. But number 4 is Prisoner. I agree with Andy. This horse is dressed up. And furthermore, I mean, he was the horse I liked least in the paddock. I thought he could carry more conditioning. He just looked light, especially for a Charlie Baker horse. But he did come alive when he got out on the racetrack, and he got a really nice, energetic, free-moving warm-up from Jaime Torres. So he moved up a bit, but I still can't like him in this spot, as I'm just going to default to majority partner here. You know, his 2 comeback races have come on wet tracks, and historically, you could say that he looks as though he's a better horse on a dry track. So he finally gets it here. He's slowly coming into his coat. He's kind of gotten that middle of the road coat where I thought his first start off the bench, he looked really dull. And it's coming in, and he looks very fit here. And furthermore, I prefer him at a sprinting distance, and he could get the exact same setup, I think, that he got 2 back going the 6.5, where he'll just be sitting right off those early pace setters. And he ticks every box, Greg, for a horse coming back off of a short layoff, in that he's healthy, he's energetic, his weight is good. So I'm going to take majority partner here.
8-day return. Thank you, Maggie. And he has, again, become the favorite. Still a little cool. He was 8-5 morning line. He's 5-2 right now.
You know, if I could have a life where my entire life is a vacation like Jonathan Kinchin's, then I'd definitely be in a great mood all the time. Though I actually am in a good mood. I was saying to you, Greg, I've been working 3-day weeks for the last 4 months. I'm good.
A lot of layoffs for Jonathan.
Right.
He works well that way.
A lot of those lines, those dark lines, right, between his starts.
Wow, odds all over the place. Prisoner, the 4 has now become the favorite, trying to win his 3rd in a row.
Yeah, if he wins, I lose. Listen, I base my entire handicapping on betting against horses like Prisoner. Doesn't mean you can't win. I've certainly, there are horses that beat me that I don't like a lot, and it's not that rare. But to me, he is completely dressed up off of just unbelievably good setups against lesser horses. But maybe he'll win today.
Yeah, could get serious pace challenge from that horse that just went in. Trash Talker, who being fresh too, you think is going to be revved up. Here we go with a pick 5. Chris Griffin to kick things off.
And they're off. Good break from Trash Talker right out to the front, has the speed. Also, Prisoner is hard sent in between horses. At the rail is Surprise Boss, 3 across the racetrack. Just off of them, Majority Partner is settled in, is in the 4th position, is to the outside of Joey Freshwater. Towards the back end of the field, that's Ryan's Cat with the trailer. Handsome Cat, Prisoner, no easy leads here. It's Prisoner who's trying to split rival. Surprise Boss wants to hold that rail position here for Trevor McCarthy, and they move quickly into the far turn. Trash Talker is still in that early mix as well. 22-3 for that opening quarter mile. The trip comes from Majority Partner. Majority Partner is in 4th, is just right off of this pace saddle, and here comes Majority Partner and Jason Wyas make it 4 wide across the racetrack. Joey Freshwater's got some momentum, and the 2 cats at the back. Ryan's Cat with Handsome Cat, who will save ground to the inside. They get set to reach the top of the stretch. Still 3 across the racetrack. Surprise Boss is running a massive race down towards the inside. Majority Partner has not run by him, and now Joey Freshwater is in the clear. Here comes Joey Freshwater. Surprise Boss is still there somehow. It's Surprise Boss to the inside, Majority Partner, and oncoming Joey Freshwater. Joey Freshwater's trying to push by. Surprise Boss is not going anywhere. Surprise Boss, look at this effort. Surprise Boss gets the victory over Joey Freshwater and Majority Partner. Prisoner far back there in 4th in 1 minute 12.82 seconds.
A lot going on in this stretch in this race. Surprise Boss, part of that early pace. Looked like he was done early on. All of a sudden, he re-rallies from the fence.
I mean, this is one of the most astounding performances I've ever seen when you combine how he ran, because he was so much the best, it's not even funny how much the best he was, and what his form looks like. He's a talented turf horse, there's no doubt about it, but he's never run a particularly good race in his career. These are connections. They ran a couple horses earlier that did no running. I bet one of them in the first race. He finished nowhere. They are connections we've seen in the past. They are connections that have been kind of clever at times in the past. I mean, 35-1. It's not like anybody really liked this horse today. And, I mean, he battled 2 horses that finished absolutely nowhere, both horses that took money. Majority Partners had the perfect trip. He looked like he couldn't lose. Joey Freshwater, looked like he was going to pick them all up, and he battled them all to the wire. This is an incredible performance by him. He was 35-1 and much the best.
Incredible effort here. And photo for second, and it winds up going to the 3. And here, Joey Freshwater, 1-3, 5-4, 35-1 shot to start off this late pick 5. Trevor McCarthy. Hand it to him and to this 4-year-old son of War Dancer. Incredible effort, taking all the heat in that race and being able to finish. When we come back, take a look at Last Samurai and that big performance in the Essex. First time in his career, he goes back-to-back, and he does it back-to-back in graded stakes races at Oaklawn for D. Wayne Lucas. Stay with us.
Drain the Clock will win and win by as much as he wants. He'll win by 6 in the end.
It is Drain the Clock who will bound home the winner in the Bayshore. Drain the Clock, Jackie's Warrior, a terrific finish in the Woody Stevens that goes to Drain the Clock by a head.
Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Naira Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Naira Bets.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
The Kentucky Derby Bankroll Builder is back at Naira Bets. Bet a $50 win bet on a selected Derby prep and get $20 for your Derby bankroll, win or lose. Opt in each week to play at NairaBets.com. We're back on America's Day at the Races. Live coverage from Aqueduct and Oaklawn on FS1. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday afternoon with us. Underway in the late Pick 5 in New York, and most people now rethinking things and putting together a Pick 4 after surprise Boss shocks everybody at 35-1.
And normally at the track, when a horse wins that's tough to make at a big price, you can say, well, he got a little lucky, this happened, that happened. He was so much the best, it was ridiculous. He dueled with 2 horses that finished absolutely nowhere in here. This was a remarkable performance by him. I have no idea where it came from. He didn't get bet in any pool.
Pick 5, the early Pick 5. We'll give you the number in a moment. It's massive. A couple of huge upsets. We talked about 2 odds-on favorites being beat earlier as well in this sequence. $73 winner. Rafael Romero, Richie's World Stables, Trevor McCarthy at 35-1. And here's that early Pick 5. $68,911 the return.
You know, a guy had tweeted to me after the first leg of the Pick 5 his ticket and played through Naira Bets, and $24 he was alive with 3 horses. The 2, 5, and 7, they seemed logical, and my heart kind of breaks for the guy. Looked like he had the right 3 horses and not even first or second. And you can't cry after. I mean, you get to that point. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But this horse was so much the best. I don't know what to say. I just have no idea where on paper it came from. At least in the dirt. He's a maiden on the dirt, and his turf races are good. But his dirt races are terrible.
Last 7 had come on the grass, and he'd never shown this kind of ability, on the dirt.
And he ran an amazing race to win. I mean, it's not like he got lucky. Wow, I don't know what to say. I'm just glad I didn't bet more in the race. That's all I have to say.
We regroup after that one. That's a tough one. Talked about Last Samurai going to break. He has really come into his own as a 5-year-old. Of course, who ended last year's meet on a big note as well. He won the Oaklawn handicap. He's no doubt going to try and win that one again later in this meet and try and make it 3 in a row for Dwayne Lucas.
We always talk about this, when they come out of a big effort like last time where he got this exceptional ride and very good trip. Can he run back to it? He didn't have a bad trip, but it's not like he ever got to save any ground from the outside post. He's just the best horse in the race. It comes down to that. Nothing wrong with the race by Classic Causeway, who finished second. He was able to set a very slow pace when the expected pace out of the 4 was nowhere to be seen early, late, or anywhere else. But still, he just ate him up easily. Very nice effort. Didn't look up the fig. Did you see the fig for this race?
I have not seen it. Yeah, I got his past performances. It was not up there yet. Christian Torres puts him a little more forward than he was in that Razorback. But this is big. First time ever he's gone back-to-back. No question, he's just become a better horse now as a 5-year-old. Credit Dwayne Lucas. He's done a nice job. And he won the big one of the meet in this series, still to come. That's April 22nd, Oaklawn Handicap. Of course they're going to target that. He won that race last year. He was with Dallas Stewart right off the lead. Of course, has tactical speed to use.
No, right. He went. That was John Court. I think they went. Yeah, they went to the front. And I see Art Collector, who won the Pegasus, is running next weekend in the New Orleans Handicap. Now, I'm not exactly sure the date of the Oaklawn Handicap, but is
April 22nd.
April 22nd. I guess it's possible if he runs well there. Bill Mott certainly has no problem shipping. Maybe these two horses sort of match up because right now they're two of the best older distance horses in the country at this point.
Been a great story with Dwayne Lucas and this 5-year-old, Paulie.
Yeah, it really has, Greg. And I think the coming out party continues with Christian Torres. And I think he just figured out how to ride this big old horse. I mean, when I would talk to Dwayne before the race, he said, listen, I don't think there's going to be any regression. This horse has actually put on weight and has been training unbelievable. And then when I talked to Christian said, listen, this horse has got a stride on him where, Andy made a good point. I think Christian kept him wide and kept him sort of out of trouble because he told me, listen, when those wheels get going and that train gets going, you do not want to stop a big old horse like this. And he just swallowed up Classic Causeway. And listen, Classic Causeway, we got to give him some credit. He's a nice animal, and he just went right by him and didn't save much ground. I'm thinking that the number, at least on the sheets, is going to come up very, very good. And, people were worried about the 10-hole, and he just kind of sat out there. And, when you win races like that, you're just completely the best. And it's going to be very interesting because he's the type of horse, when you look at him physically, he just wants to run all day. So he's going to be a handful in Oaklawn Handicap if he keeps on going forward. And we'll see what happens as the year keeps on going, Greg.
Legendary Dwayne Lucas. Thank you, Paulie. Has one of the best in the Distaff division. Last year's Kentucky Oaks winner comes back strong, wins off the bench, Secret Oath. And now he has a horse who looks like he could be a major player in this older horse division.
He's got to definitely be pressing Hot Springs and Oaklawn to be running 12 months a year. The way things are going for Wayne right now. He is 87 and going strong.
Incredible. Fun to watch. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back when we return. A look at one of the quickest workers at the OBS sale set to take place over the next few days. We'll have Acacia Clement give us an update of what to expect over the next few days at a 2-year-olds in training sale. Stay with us.
Tonalist, a 4-time Grade 1 winner with 11 triple-digit buyers, including the Belmont Stakes and the Cigar Mile. He's already living up to his potential as a sire, with multiple graded stakes winners, including Grade 1 winner Country Grammar and Grade 2 winner Tonalist Shape, plus multiple 6-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Tonalist, standing at Lane's End.
We're back at America's Day at the Races on our FS1 coverage. Thanks for being with us. Underway in the Pick 5 in New York. We'll get to the Pick 4 coming up. More from Oaklawn ahead as well. This is coming up Monday through Wednesday. OBS Mart's 2-year-old in training sale. And the beginning point for these youngsters to flash the talent they have on the racetrack.
And the 2-year-old sales have become a very, very big part of the buying year. You know, you'll see some people, they'll pinhook horses they bought at yearling sales, etc. But a lot of people buying horses, a lot of interesting horses come out of these sales as well.
Let's go to Acacia Clement. Give us more on this OBS sale.
Here at the OBS sales grounds in Ocala, Florida, getting ready to kick off the March 2-year-old in training sale. OBS Sales is known for the quality that they do have in their catalog, and we see an expanded sale this year with 3-day March sale. 833 horses originally cataloged in the book, and all of these horses have gone through the breeze show where a horse would work an eighth or a quarter of a mile, and we saw some very fast times, including 2 colts that worked 9 and 3. That's a Good Magic colt consigned by Top Line Sales, and a Not This Time colt that's consigned by GOP Racing Stables. OBS is known for their future stakes winners and graded stakes placed horses that come out of this sale, and having worked over that synthetic track, a very fair track that horsemen appreciate sending their horses to and going through the consignment ring. We'll see the sale kick off on Monday, taking place from March 20th to 22nd, and this is the place where we'll get a chance to have a little glimpse at the future stars that will be debuting this summer on the racetrack.
Acacia, thank you. We'll get another update from her on that sale a little bit later on in the program. Back to Oaklawn, and race 5 kicks off their late Pick 5 sequence. Arkansas bred runners, claiming race for horses who have not won 2 lifetime in a 6-furlong sprint coming up. 8. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was waiting for you, and you seemed to want something from me. I like the favorite. Smoked the favorite right out.
At a Party, that's the 10. Has speed to use, Paul LaDuca.
Listen, he's the horse to beat in here for Christian Torres. And I would think he gets to the front end in here. You know, Christian's very good at, he'll push, but when he gets an outer post, sometimes he'll try to rate, but I think he pushes towards the front end in here. You do have Lord N, the 4, claimed last time from Ron Moquette, now in the Norm McKnight barn. And this horse has shown speed in the past and showed speed last time. It just kind of just fell apart in the later stages of the race. And that was over a muddy racetrack. The last time this horse has been over a fast racetrack, okay, seems like he checks in second a lot more than he checks in first. His lone win was a state-bred maiden 20 here. So the 12.52 is about the right, I think, level in here. I thought the 2 had the shot in here as in to upset this field at 11-1. We've seen this kid, Edwin Gallardo. He can ride a little bit, and this is a horse that's dropping in class. I know these races are at Canterbury, and he might be a better turf horse, but this field, I give the horse a tiny bit of a look in here at a big price. I thought the 6 was a giant scratch in here because I thought he was going to be the horse to beat. You know, traffic control on the outside, the 11 is getting played a little bit. You do get Ricardo Santana in the irons. We haven't seen a lot of Delta Down shippers come in here and run well. I thought he ran okay. He was just right behind At a Party, about 3.5 lengths, and they were dueling. So it's going to be really interesting what happens between the 10 and the 11 in this race. Do they try to go to the front end with the 4 in here, and will that set up for somebody from off the pace? So I think this is going to set for somebody off the pace. I think the 2's your long shot, but I'm going to go with the 5 in here, Tale of Truth for Diodoro. The other Diodoro, Ramsey Zimmerman, from way off the pace.
All right, Paulie. Thank you. 7-1 right now on the one he likes. That 5, for Diodoro with Ramsey Zimmerman, Tale of Truth. Going to step back into state-bred company today. 8-5 favorite, though. A lot to like with At a Party, and we know that horse wants to be forward.
Yeah, I just thought he was a very logical horse, and when you get the speed, and this is the kind of thing Jonathan would say, and I agree with Jonathan on this, is that when you have a speed but you also have an outside post position, you're not under the gun, and just seems like a very logical horse.
And Paulie brought up that 11, too, traffic control. Just the fact you get Ricardo Santana Jr., horse showed ability last time out, battling with At a Party.
Okay.
Third off the bench. Little interesting.
No,
taking a lot of money, though.
Didn't run that badly last time. Can't knock it. I thought Lord M was not impossible off the claim for Norm McKnight.
Pick 5 starts here. Let's check in with JK.
Yeah, a lot of times in these races, what I'll do is I'll look at these lower level type races, slower speed figures. A lot of times I'll just look for an early pace figure and a late figure that just seems to kind of stand out. And when you look at the 10 At a Party, this horse doesn't give you a lot of confidence, right? I mean, has had one win in the career, so it's not like this horse is some kind of monster. But if you look at the pace figures, this horse runs, let's just call it early, or run, a 60 or a 70 or whatever it might be. That's faster than what everyone else is running. This horse also has a final number that's faster than what most of these other horses are running. So what that tells me is, drawn towards the outside, if this horse decides to be aggressive and find the front end, they're going to be able to finish their race without pressure because they're on the outside, and they typically finish better than anyone else finishes in the race anyways. If they decide to go fast in front because the horse is drawn towards the outside, we'll have a little bit of energy left for the drive home. Look, I don't think you can make a lot of money betting horses like this at 3-2 over time, but I really can't get excited about anyone else in here. The only other option is the 4 Lord M. But what seems to happen more often than not in a lot of these races is when you do try to come up with some creative idea, it seems like someone's kind of beat me to the punch here with this 4 horse and being bet down to the price that he is. I don't think the 4 makes that much more sense at 3-1 versus the 10 at 3-2. I'm going to go with the 10 towards the outside. I think it's an advantageous draw, and I just think that this is a better animal than the rest of them.
Jonathan, thanks. There are a couple of horses that can put some pressure on the 10 At a Party, but to Jonathan's point, that's the beneficial thing about being drawn outside.
No, because I said before, that's what I agree, and something that Jonathan, says quite often. When you're outside, it makes it easier. Now, you made a reasonable point. The traffic control was involved with him last time, and he is outside of him. So if traffic control wants to be aggressive again, potentially he's a fly in that ointment.
And what will Lord M try and do? He picked up pieces, and he outfinished At a Party 2 starts back. He has the ability to try and be close, but I don't know if he wants to chase here.
1 for 11 for second, short prices every week. I feel about those horses. I'm just annoyed that a horse named Super Geek couldn't be a better horse. You just want to bet on Super Geek, right?
That's the 3 at 32-1.
I don't know. I like the name, right? Cyber Secret, sire. So you got that. I don't know where the Damn Side fits in. Time Bandit. I never did know there was a horse named Time Bandit, the Damn Sire.
Yeah.
What's his name movie? Terry Gilliam movie of Monty Python fame.
There you look at some of these races coming up if you're playing this pick 5, and they are difficult to narrow down. I thought that 7th race where for Diodoro and Hollendorfer, Sakil and Greatheart are going to take a ton of money. The 6 and the 7. I thought Charter Oak had a big chance today.
Okay, I had narrowed down the 6 and 7. Smart. I'm really on top of my game today finding these favorites. Okay, third off a layoff.
That 8th race.
Could be a speed, not a lot of pace. With a 3 scratch, you're right about Charter Oak. Totally loose now. Yep, go ahead.
8th race, who do you think gets to the front? Who do you think wins?
I think Effortlessly Elegant gets to the top. I think it's going to be the 2 or 4. Effortlessly Elegant or Take Charge Brianna. I'll go with Lucas if you have to put a gun to my head. He's the only guy in the grounds might be hotter than Norm Cassie.
Okay. And the last race, Ron Moquetti's got Samoria, the 7, who looks like could be tough. Choctaw Charlie, the 9.
You're going to really put
Big
me on
chance.
the spot in this last race.
And I thought Chai Tea interesting, too, the 4.
What about Tap It Right? Isn't that a weird claim by Diodoro?
It is.
Going in for a $10,000 Archie bread.
Good luck, everyone. Pick 5 starts here. Jim Byers, the call.
Alaska moves in. All in line. They're off. Cruisin' Rocket heads out straight to the lead. At a Party to the outside, away promptly. Lord M on the inside is 3rd. Traffic Control 4th. Warning Label is 5th in between runners. 3 lengths then to Tale of Truth, who's racing in 6th. Mr. Cougar is 7th on the inside, about 7 lengths from the lead. Then Super Geek and Bill Hill, 4 wide to his outside. Braska next to last, and Morning Drive is trailing the field around the turn. On the outside, At a Party to the inside, Cruisin' Rocket And those two are matching strides and a length and a half clear of Lord M, who in turn is 2.5 clear of Warning Label, who's starting to lose some ground on the outside. Traffic Control is on the inside. He's the gray, about 5 lengths from the lead. They swing into the stretch. And at a party, Christian Torres takes over the lead. Lord M is a bold challenger. Cruise and Rocket to the inside, followed by Traffic Control as Lord M tries to surge to a short lead. At a party right there. At a party the inside, and Lord M at a party is coming back on, and Gamely gets up a neck. Over Lord M. Traffic Control was third, Photo for fourth.
At a party looked like he was done in. Lord M had his number, but he re-rallies.
It's just so odd. You and I, watching as many race smoke as we do, we don't agree on everything, though we agree on a lot more. They just don't pass it. It's just so bizarre. And you said to me, it looks like he's not going to go by, is he? It looks like he's going to go by. And I said, yeah, I think he's going by. And you said, no, it's Oaklawn. He's not getting by.
It's another Oaklawn special.
It's amazing.
So difficult to try and get by on the outside for some reason. They're 8-5 favorite with a win at a party as we're back in New York. Pick 4 starts here. This is Thundurian, 6-1.
Weird horse, never been on the dirt before. Purchased by David Jacobson at the sale for $20,000. Got enough pedigree to handle it.
Fire King went by at 20-1.
Seems like he's just too slow.
The horse to beat here's Valenza Day, Linda Rice.
But he is so hard to trust in here off his last race. Has he lost his form?
Miss You Ajax. The win came in Laurel.
Yeah, he's another horse like Fire King that, at least on paper, like the last winner, not fast enough to win.
Outlaw Country went by Charlie Baker, Dylan Davis.
Got a perfect trip last time.
Star Attitude has Jose Gomez.
Best speed figure yet last time, losing to Super Quality, who's gotten super.
7 at 4-1 here for Michelle Nevin.
I like Roll and Dancer. He lost to Outlaw County, but ran a better race, in my opinion, last time out.
And the other Linda Rice runner, here's Lars, has speed and blinkers come off.
You know, he's interesting to talk about, Greg, because he and another horse were part of the 3-horse pace duel that Roll Again Dancer were involved in, and both those horses were eased, and that's how well Roll Again Dancer ran. I think he's going to run better today with the blinkers off.
6-1 right now. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Well, Linda Rice, with regards to this week, kind of like the month we were in, came in like a lion so far. It's going out of the week like a lamb. 0 for 5 so far with her runners. But she sends out a duo here, whom we'll get to in a second. Just going to go numerically as we'll start talking about number 1 in here, Thundurian. He was actually a vet listed as a vet scratchback on March 10th when entered in a non-2 for 16. Now, they just paid $28,000 for this Godolphin homebred / give up at the Fasig-Tipton mix sale in February. Now, he does return as a gelding. I think that's probably done before David Jacobson bought, I would say, because that's what they do. Godolphin, if they want to get rid of horses, they geld them and sell them. But this is his first try on dirt. And while he's by Distorted Humor, which is a good influence, the Dam, she did win on the dirt, although in 2 off the turf races, there is a little bit more overall turf pedigree. But this guy actually looks as though he, conformation-wise, is built like a dirt sprinter. So I'm actually optimistic with what he does here on the main track today. He comes in looking fit. I just wish that with thinking about the turn back, that he just seemed a little bit more sharp. He's just a little bit quiet out there. So, though, still an interesting proposition, especially at 7-1. Number 3, Valenza Day is your favorite. I have very mixed emotions about this horse. I think he was a little bit against the track, to be fair, and over his head in this first start off the claim. And then the 3 back, I did not like the way he warmed up. And he won by 7, as he was just so much better than the rest of that field at 1-2 that day. Today, watching him warm up, I actually like what I see, although I wish he looked a little bit better from the coat conditioning perspective. So we'll see what he does as your 8-5 favorite. And then on the outside, the other Linda Rice horse with number 8, Lars. Last time, he was really sharp in the paddock. I mean, he was like OTT, over the top sharp, and resulted in speed and then stopping. Blinkers coming off today, completely different animal in his disposition. Very quiet, looks great physically, but I think Andy's right. I think we'll see a different type of tactic used with Lars this time around, especially from that outside post, Greg. But I just couldn't get over how well Roll Again Dancer ran last time. I liked him in that last effort. I'm going to take him here once again.
It's bad for Maggie. We're agreeing way too much here. She's obviously, something's gone wrong for her.
There's Roll Again Dancer. Oh, no, sorry. He's left our screen. The 7 Roll Again Dancer, 7-2 for Maggie.
Yeah.
And Andy.
Just to expand on that a little bit, I mean, for me as a handicapper, and I think this is something, once again, that Jonathan agrees with, you want to bet horses that ran against the flow of a race. And you look at Roll Again Dancer, do it with Lars, and the second to last place finisher was beaten 30 lengths, and this horse beaten almost 60 lengths. And yet Roll Again Dancer held on and was only beaten 2 lengths by Outlaw Country, who did win the race. But Outlaw Country had the perfect trip stalking. And Roll Again Dancer got a very aggressive ride by Frankie Pennington. I'm not knocking him. It may have been instructions, but you wonder if they'll be as aggressive today. And out of that race, to me, the same price, you're supposed to like Roll Again Dancer, even though he finished second behind that one.
He's 3-1. Horse who was nowhere in that race, showing some early pace. Lars, the 8, 5-1, but that equipment change maybe wakes up, relaxes a little bit, and is freewheeling out there from that outside post under Jose Lezcano. 9-5 favorite, the stablemate of Lars, Valenzen Day, Kendrick Carmouche, the one to beat, but have to be concerned after the last 2 starts. Even though they were against a lot better, one of them on the Triple Crown Trail did not show much life at all.
His last race, he was wide, and the rail was good, but he had nothing. Kendrick was asking him for speed early, and I get it. He's the horse to beat based on what he's done, but his last race is very concerning.
Pick 4 begins here. Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin.
Jacks. Lars to the outside. All in line. All set. And they're off. Roll Again Dancer's got early speed from an outside draw, and here comes Roll Again Dancer is in front. Hard sent to the inside, Valenzen Day, and now Kendrick Carmouche. They want to be up with this leader, and Fire King is going to be at the rail. Matty Over might take back here, and does. Is back to third. Just in behind them, Thunderian is now moving forward, moves out to the 2 path, is now in the clear, is there with Lars, who's going to be in 5th. In behind them, Outlaw Country. Outlaw Country is followed there by Star Attitude, the trailer. Miss You Ajax, 23. Flat for that opening quarter mile. Valenzen Day got to the front. It's Valenzen Day. Had to work to get there as a neck in front of Roll Again Dancer, who's now stalking from second. Fire King was taken off the pace, is re-rallying here from third, has got some run to the inside of Thunderian, who's trying to run on from fourth. Big gap of 4 now, back to Lars, who's making up mile ground. Outlaw Country, Star Attitude, and far back, Miss You Ajax. Valenzen Day is trying to shake loose here on the front end. They got a quarter mile left to go, but Roll Again Dancer is ready to challenge, and here comes Roll Again Dancer, who's put a nose in front. Valenzen Day is not done to the inside, is battling Ryan back. Here comes Thunderian with a mild run, also trying to run on. It's Fire King, shoulder to shoulder here for a final furlong. Roll Again Dancer to the outside, Valenzen Day to the inside. They get the 16th pole. Roll Again Dancer is finding more. Can Valenzen Day come back? Roll Again Dancer, Valenzen Day, Roll Again Dancer, Valenzen Day, Valenzen Day. Game and victory, Valenzen Day over. Roll Again Dancer then came Thunderian and Star Attitude in 1 minute 20.61 seconds.
Valenzen Day passing the stretch, but battles back from the inside under Kendrick Carmouche for the win.
And interestingly enough, really came back when Greg Wolf said to me, and I bet Roll Again Dancer, boy, Linda Rice just can't win a race anymore.
That one's
Finding
on me.
more. But listen, a very good effort by both of them. I mean, the interesting thing is, and Roll Again Dancer had no excuse. It wasn't really that fast a pace, but Kendrick really had to ride the number 3 just to get into that position where Roll Again Dancer, who broke right on top, and it felt like Torres was just sitting chilly. And I bet Roll Again Dancer, and I'm not making any excuses, just lost a race that he really should have won. It just seemed like he was going better of the 2 at every point of the race. But Roll Again Dancer came, Valenzen whatever his name is, Valenzen Day came back on the inside and beat me. I've forgiven you, Greg.
After that incredible, thank you. After that incredible streak from Linda Rice, at one point she won 7 in a row. Started out rough today over 3, back in the win column. And Valenzen Day looked to be the horse to beat. Had to earn this one, though, every step of the way.
Might have been the biggest price of any of the 4 that
Might have
she
been.
ran today so far. And, you know, once again, it's a good example. Roll Again Dancer didn't win, but the Outlaw Country race. you look at the race, if you look at just where they finish, you're making a mistake. You've got to think about how the race was run. And obviously, in a more advantageous situation, it's not even close between these two.
3-7-1-5 after head-scratching long shot. Starts off the pick 5. A battle, but form holds to start off the pick 4 with Valenza Day. We'll have the prices when we come back. We'll also return with a story of a young rider who was on a roll in Hot Springs. He had to wait to get his turn. Francisco Arrieta's story when we come back.
Here comes Malathon. Here comes Clariere on the outside, and it's going to be Clariere. Nest, much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths.
And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint. Outside it's Malathon coming to the wire. Who's it going to be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Gunrunner is the sire of 6 Grade 1 winners from his first crop. He leads all stallions standing in North America by percentage of Grade 1 winners, percentage of Grade 1 stakes horses, percentage of stakes horses, and percentage of stakes winners. Owner Breeder magazine wrote, 3 Chimneys is home to one of the most exciting young stallions in North America, one that is already eliciting comparisons with Danzig and Mr. Prospector. Gunrunner.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Back with you on America's Day of the Races on our FS1 coverage. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Back in New York, pick 4 begins with a 3-2 favorite, but Valenza Day had to fight and claw to get this victory over Roll Again Dancer.
Yep, but did get it done. The two of them were just too tough to catch in the front end. 2 best horses in the race, but they were able to control as well.
Lena Rice, Paradox Stable, Kendra Carmouche, your winning connections, returning $5 for that victory. Back to Oaklawn. Race 6 approaching the 14-minute mark to post. $25,000 claiming race, 2-turn mile, and 9-5 favoritism. Doubly blessed right now. They've advanced second off the claim. The post parade coming up in a moment. Jockey Francisco Arrieta is living out his dream. He's again among the leading riders at the Oaklawn meet, just his 3rd season riding there full time. But that dream early on might have seemed more like a nightmare, getting very few opportunities and even fewer trips to the winner's circle. He had to be extremely patient to hope that his dream would one day be realized. Francisco Arrieta's childhood dream was to become a jockey.
Because my first time when I see a horse, man, I fell in love. What a beautiful feeling, you know.
Arrieta, a native of Venezuela, moved his tack to the United States in 2014.
When I started here, it was hard for me, you know, to get a chance. I don't speak any English and I don't know nobody. It was pretty hard. I have to gallop like for 2.5 years and ride a couple horses, you know, it was really hard.
He would need a strong belief in himself because this dream would require plenty of patience. Over a 3-year span from 2015 to 2017, Arrieta rode 210 races, winning just 3 times. Yes, 3 years, just 3 winners.
For sure, I work every day, you know, almost don't no day off, you know, working hard.
But patience, work ethic, and faith in God would lead Arrieta to finally break through as leading rider at smaller tracks off the beaten path.
I was in New York at the time. I started working for Robertino Dodoro, galloping, and I galloped for him like a year, and I asked him for ride horse, you know, and the opportunity didn't come in New York, so they moved to Arizona. So I asked him to give me the opportunity. So finally I moved with my family to Arizona and started riding over there. And that was unbelievable after that.
It's going to be Senor Friday to win the Turf Paradise Derby.
He's one of the hardest workers. You know, he's a very good worker, got a good attitude. He's a good rider. He's a kid that started right from the bottom up, paid his dues, and it was just 3-4 years ago where he was galloping and picking up claimed horses for us at Saratoga during the summer to make extra money. So he's come a long way in a short period. Like I said, he's a kid that started right from the bottom. So got to give guys like him a lot of credit.
Then Arrieta came to Oaklawn for the first time in 2021, and he won 50 races, finishing third in the jockey standings. On the year, Arrieta's mounts earned $5.5 million, compared to $62,000 just 4 years earlier.
I like Arkansas. You know, it's a nice place, nice people around here. I just be happy to be here, you know, and it's not hard to ride in this racetrack, you know, it's easy.
He also recorded his first Oaklawn Stakes victory in The Bachelor aboard Jackson Traveler for Hall of Fame trainer Steve Asmussen.
Well, I just remember that was a nice horse. He just break and go to the lead. That was an easy winner, you know, nice horse.
Jackson Traveler beat the gate and beats the Bachelor. Jackson Traveler in front.
For the boy who started riding in Venezuela at age 16, it's been a long, winding 16-year journey.
About 4 or 5 years, I was, Mom, I want to be a rider. She said, no. I told her, let me be a rider. I want to be a champion, you know. Don't worry about it. It took me 10 years to win my first title, leading rider. 10 years, working hard, no day off, no vacation or nothing, you know. So, but here I am.
He has paid his dues. He rode at New Mexico, Arizona, Minnesota, now at a big racetrack, big meet. He's in the mix for riding title.
No, he had a terrific year last year as well. I ended up finishing second there, and nice to see him doing so well. An interesting story. I remember when he rode in Saratoga quite a while ago. He's come a long way from there. It's nice to see him having success.
Yeah, we're going to see him on Thundershook in the upcoming race. Horse has an outside look in this race. An offshore fair, a ledge, probably going to take a lot of money in here. Doubly blessed.
Doubly blessed. The winner, no. Wait. Doubly, yeah, I know, I got it, yep. Yeah, I didn't think Thundershook I had at least a little open.
Yeah. We'll get back to the post-parade coming up. Meanwhile, someone else who has really taken big strides forward the last couple of years, Dylan Davis. He's 6 back of Manny Franco, but time's running out. Rest of today, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday remain in this meet. He's got an opportunity. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Florida Derby. After 3/4 in 1:12 and 1, Known Agenda is now on to take over the lead. It's Known Agenda for St. Elias Stable. Florida Derby winner, Known Agenda.
More live action ahead here on America's Day at the Races on our FS1 coverage. It's brought to you in part where you can play all the races at Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime at NairaBets.com. We're up to race 7 here in New York. 1-turn mile, an allowance to optional claiming field, and the return of the 6 untreated for trainer Todd Pletcher coming back for his 5-year-old debut.
I mean, if you knew that every horse in this race was going to run their best race, he would obviously be the horse to beat, which is not to say it would be easy, because there are a lot of horses in this race that are coming into the race in very good form. But Untreated's obviously held his own. I mean, he came with less the length of winning the Suburban. I'm a little skeptical of this guy off the layoff, though.
Multiple graded stakes placed. 7 of 5 for his return. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Yeah, that's a short price on a horse who doesn't have the recency but may have the class. As Untreated, as far as fitness and what I can suss out here in the paddock, he looks extremely fit to me. Now, he's one that I've actually never been in the paddock for his New York races, so I don't have any notes on him. I don't know what he looks like or looked like prior when he was stringing races together back to back, but he's been doing half of his preparations down in South Florida. It shows. He's completely dappled. He has more of a summer coat to him than a winter one, that's for sure. And is very fit from the leanness perspective. Now, he might need a race to put on some of that muscle mass, but at the end of the day, he might just be better than these. My main concern about him, though, isn't fitness. It's the fact that I feel like he's a horse that might be better going longer, when he can be out in front or at least pretty close to the lead, and I just don't foresee that happening with him here today, as we'll check in with the horse that could be up close and could take advantage of a more inside post position. Number 1, Market Alert, but Market Alert is about as quirky as they come. He's a horse that I said time and time again, they couldn't get to walk onto the track out of the tunnel at Belmont. Rob Atras has told me, his previous trainer, that he won't sometimes walk into a stall, that it'll take them 45 minutes to get him back into a stall, or he won't turn around to go a certain direction. He's weird. So far, so good, though, here in the paddock. Looks good, coming in off of 2 weeks away from the track, from the races, I should say. Healthy. I'm going to keep my eye on him, Greg, and see how he's behaving prior to this start.
Maggie, thank you. We will as well. 6 to 5 favoritism. Untreated, back off the bench for his 5-year-old return for Hall of Fame trainer Todd Pletcher. And it's not an easy spot. There's some informed horses he's going up against for this comeback.
Yeah, and Todd Pletcher's numbers, statistically, from a percentage standpoint, are very strong off of layoffs, but from an ROI standpoint, they're weak because they end up being very short prices, and no big surprise. But his numbers are dramatically lower at the Naira tracks than they are outside of Naira, where off a layoff of 4 to 8 months in dirt routes, he's just 6 for 28, 21% $1.14. It's not terrible numbers, especially for a layoff, but the ROI is low, and we're dealing once again with a short price, and he's just 17% overall at Naira with under $1 ROI for every $2 bet. So it's not a great gamble. He is good, but this is a pretty good field.
Back at Oaklawn, 2-turn mile in this 25 claiming race. And Paul, offshore affair for Robertino Diodoro. You go 3 starts back, and he has a race that just blows this field away. The problem is the 2 starts that followed.
Yeah, that's the concern, right? You're wondering if he's the same horse. And, all the money's going to the outside horses, too. I'm a little surprised with Royally Blessed, but maybe, that's the 8 in here. I think maybe people are thinking, okay, let's get back to some of his old form. If you go back to his old form, he wins this race by a pole. But, is he the same horse, now in the Dave Vance barn? And you can look at him, too. He has not gone around 2 turns. Belmont mile and the 16th got that little hook. He has not gone around 2 turns in almost 3 years. He's got like 1 race around 2 turns. It does show that he's good at this distance, but those are 1-turn races. So that's a kind of bit of a concern. The 7 in here, Lord Dragon. Last time I thought the comment line was perfect. Kind of just sat in a one spot and just didn't really make a move at all. Now drops back down to the 25. What I do love about the 7, and I think the 7's live, Moquett, when he claims a horse from Diodoro, he's very realistic, and I think putting this horse up in class last time was a vote of confidence. Now coming back down kind of with his friends, I think he can be included in this bunch at 7-2. You look at some of the other runners in here. If I was going to bet a long shot, Cody Rosen's a very sharp trainer on the 2. This horse can improve a little bit. And then the 5, Alleged. The Asmussen team, again, horse likes to win 33% of his races, Greg, so you can't throw that horse out as well. I don't get the betting on the 8. I think the 8 is a bet against. I'll go with the 7, Ronnie Moquett's runner in here, but I do think a wide open field.
7, thank you, Paulie. Lord Dragon, that's the only horse in this field, but it's probably a good thing, who has to carry full weight in here. Everyone else gets an allowance. The condition, those who have not won a race since January the 19th, he just missed that, winning on January 20th, so he'll carry 126 pounds.
I just can't endorse horses that have been claimed away from Robertino Diodoro. I just can't do it. And on the other hand, in this race, I'm not going to endorse a horse who's 2-1, who fell apart when claimed by Robertino Diodoro. Now he comes off a layoff. His numbers overall pretty good off of these 3 to 7 month layoffs. Well, not at Oaklawn.
I mean,
confusing race.
He wasn't just going good offshore affair of the 6 before he went to Robertino Diodoro. I mean, he was consistently showing up every single time, too. Very strange.
Very strange. A guy who normally improves them. This horse fell apart. Makes you really wonder. I don't know. I mean, I'm going to tell you, I found this race extremely difficult.
Meanwhile, Alleged, there's the gray, this 6-year-old. He's coming back for his 6-year-old debut for Hall of Famer Steve Asmussen, and his son Keith will ride. When he went to the bench, he'd won 3 in a row, including this victory at Colonial.
Yeah, but overall, save a 1.5 mile race. His form isn't great at Oaklawn. It's better at other places. That bothers me a little bit about him. And it's this kind of layoff, 9.5 months. Obviously, he ran very fast figures in some of these races, and he could easily win off them. But off a long layoff, not really my cup of tea. I guess if you put a gun to my head, I'd bet the 8 Doubly Blessed. I know I don't like the voided claim last time, but he didn't run that badly sprinting off a layoff. And the voided claims are often much more misleading. I know he's a drop-downer being claimed by that crew, but he's the one I would go to.
A lot of horses in here with back class, but poor recent form. The 2 is another one like that, who has some big races you can go back to. Eisenstadt, the 3 at 25-1, long time ago.
It's amazing, right?
He was a nice runner. He came back off, a 3-year layoff, didn't run really a step.
It's like the conditions should read, they used to be good.
Yeah, it's that kind of race. Jonathan, where are you going to wind up?
Yeah, I just wasn't really interested in the 6. The favorite Offshore Affair, so I ended up kind of going towards the outside as well. Doubly Blessed. This horse hadn't run since July prior to the last start. Came back and ran okay from a speed figure standpoint. Was wide all the way around there. It was a sloppy racetrack. I think Doubly Blessed is going to take another step forward. I'm not typically one to forgive a performance when someone claims off of Mike Maker, but the speed figure didn't change enough for me to not give this horse another chance. So drawn towards the outside at 3-1, into the teeth of a bad favorite, I had no problem going with the outside runner, the 8, Doubly Blessed.
JK, thanks. 3-1 on that outside runner. Rocco Bowen will ride for David Vance, second off the claim. Another really top, not just claiming trainer, but trainer overall. David Vance claimed this one off of Mike Maker, so it makes you think, can he move this horse forward?
It's a concern. It is really a concern. He's a horse that he had good form. He was even tailing off a little bit for Maker, because even though he ran a decent figure last time for Maker, he was 3-2 in that race, not as good as some of his old races. So he may have sort of been past his best races when he claimed him. We'll see. I sort of picked him begrudgingly here.
Favorite remains Offshore Affair, 7-year-old debut coming up for this Robertino Diodoro runner. And when he's running his best races, he is forward and on the engine. We'll see if that's the case today. Jim Byers, the call.
They're off. Perfect Dispatch. They all came out dead even. Offshore Affair is heading out to the early lead here, and Doubly Blessed in the bright orange on the outside. Second, a Ledge on the comeback trail is third. Then comes Eisenstadt. He's racing fourth. Thundershook is in between horses. Lord Dragon to the outside of him. And 2x2 is at the back end of the field as they turn onto the backstretch. Offshore Affair sets the pace here by 1 length. And up to the outside, it's Doubly Blessed, a Ledge, tucked right in third. 2.5 then to a flight of 3. Lord Dragon, Thundershook between, and Eisenstadt on the inside. And 2x2 is trailing the field, half mile to the finish. As they head to the first finish line here, an Offshore Affair with the lead by a neck, and Doubly Blessed is right with him here and confronts Offshore Affair. A Ledge is just sitting tidy in behind them. Up to the outside comes Lord Dragon. He's in the clear on the outside in fourth, and Thundershook is fifth. 2x2 and Eisenstadt at the back. Doubly Blessed has reached even terms with Offshore Affair. Past the quarter now and coming for home. And Doubly Blessed, Offshore Affair, not much between these two. Doubly Blessed a neck in front. Offshore Affair starts to weaken. Here's a Ledge up on the outside, off the bench and taking the lead past Doubly Blessed. Final 16th, and it is a Ledge. Another for Keith Asmussen, a triple today. Doubly Blessed was second. Thundershook got up for third.
A Ledge, yes, 6-year-old debut. He was going very easily before they came into that final turn.
Right, I was saying to you, it looked like the 8 was going well, and you said, I think a Ledge may be going better. And this is a second excellent ride that Keith Asmussen has given for his father, Steve, where he got good position, saving ground on the inside. And, you know, this is a rider that, to be fair, has struggled a little bit at the meet, but he really seems to be finding his stride. Those are very, very good rides today. It's good to see.
Second win for Dad today, third overall for young Keith Asmussen. Well done as we get back to New York. 7th race post-parade coming up in this 1-turn mile allowance optional claiming field. Here's Market Alert with Dylan Davis.
Was able to steal away on the front end last time when the actual speed rated for some unknown reason, and kind of dressed up, just not as good as the two outside of him in his prior start.
Claimed off of the red-hot Rob Atras. King Cambule ran a big number last start.
I mean, that was the best race he ever ran, and he ran well. He was on top of a pace that collapsed.
Bourbon Calling beat him in that race, the 7-year-old.
He beat him, but I'm not sure that King Cambule didn't run the better race there. They both ran very well. They're going to have to be at the top of their game, but at least they're coming off big efforts and their prices.
Curlin's Wisdom went by off a win for Linda Rice. Here's Steinbeck.
I picked Curlin's Wisdom, by the way. I kind of like the cut back to a mile. Steinbeck is the one horse, at least on paper, that would be hard to make.
Here he is, multiple graded stakes, place 5-year-old returning for Todd Pletcher.
We'll see. The stats aren't great with this horse. He's still a very good horse. I picked him second, but I'm going to try to beat him.
Thought Southern District was going to be very tough today, 4-1.
He's really a best at one turn. The mile's the perfect spot for him. Will he get enough pace to run at? But his last race was crazy good.
I like the way he looks, too. 3 minutes away here from the 7th coming up. 7-2 right now on Southern District. Let's go to Jonathan.
Yeah, I landed on the 7 Southern District as well. I mean, he's just had some really fast races and some quality races. I mean, he was knocking on the triple-digit buyer door for some time. Chad Brown decided to part ways with him, and he still kind of was running good numbers. He's drawn outside. He's tactical. I don't necessarily trust the favorite, but he also, he does have some big numbers, and this is kind of what Todd does in terms of, dirt routes and for horses. It's just I just feel like his horses always kind of run just a tad bit better than they might look on paper. All the inside horses are all capable. Market Alert, King Cambule, Bourbon Calling, Curlin's Wisdom. They're all just kind of right there, a cut below. They're kind of in that high 80, low 90 number situation when the two outside runners are capable of kind of hitting those upper 90s. I'm going to go with the 7 Southern District in here. I wouldn't be shocked if the 6 beats me, but I just can't bet that horse at that price.
All right, JK, thank you. 7-5, it's a short price to take, but obviously very talented horse.
No, he is. He's an interesting horse. This is a horse that debuted for owner Paul Pompa and Chad Brown, and one that been touted very, very heavily, obviously, was 4-5. Didn't run a step that day. Paul Papa, who sadly passed away sort of suddenly, and they had the dispersal, and he sold in the dispersal, and Team Valor bought him, and he right away paid dividends running well. He was obviously over his head in the second start running in the bluegrass, but then when he came back, and he came back off a similar freshening when he came back after 7 months, he ran very well, and he ran well at today's miles distance. He beat the bias when he won on December 31st. He ran against good horses. I don't have a knock on him as a horse. The stats aren't great, and I don't like betting short prices off layoffs.
Let's go to Maggie. Maggie, tell us good things about Southern District.
Okay. I hate talking about my husband's horses. He looks great, but he's usually a horse that in his previous efforts would get a little bit hot, a little bit nervous, and he didn't do that today. And sometimes, you know, the rule of thumb is that you don't want horses to do that, but some horses, it's better when they do that. He's just very, very laid back. Looks great otherwise, but yeah. Number 3, Bourbon Calling for Antonio Arriaga. I feel like he's a horse that kind of always gets maybe a little bit overlooked, but is in sensational form. I think he actually ran really well last time, where he broke slow, he went up wide down the backstretch and continued around the turn wide. And I know he only won by a head, and King Kumbale, who's also in here, was getting to him, but he definitely had the longest way around there, and he looks good. And I don't love him. I'm going to take a shot here with Market Alert because he's so far been behaving himself, and he could be the one to take advantage of being on the inside. But he might not just be as good. These horses, yeah, the outside two might be just a bit better from a class perspective, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. We'll find out coming up here. 8-5 untreated for the return. Southern District taking a lot of support. Tom Morley off the claim. He has Kendrick Carmouche aboard.
His best races have been one-turn mile races. At Churchill, got a fast pace nonetheless. Here at Aqueduct as well. And he lost that form. They were some paceless races, but he did kind of fall apart. Claimed away from Chad Brown and Klarovich. Started to refine that form. Now, the one thing that concerns me, claimed from Norm Cash last time. Numbers claiming horses from Norm Cash are not good. And at 5-2, not that I agree he can win, but boy, the numbers, he's a tough guy to claim from.
Biggest, maybe you don't agree, this horse right here, I thought maybe the biggest aberration on the board with the race he ran last time.
Why is he 12-1? I agree with you. I think that's a very, very good point. I mean, he's a one-number horse, but he's a one-number horse. It's a big price, right?
Indeed. Too big. Curlin's Wisdom stepping in. Favorite, 3-2. Howell untreated run. Off the bench. 5-year-old return for one of the best. Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher. He's got Jose Lezcano aboard. There he is. We're set. Let's go upstairs to Chris Griffin.
Southern District moves in. All in line. All set. And they're off. Good break for Curlin's Wisdom in between horses, is right up with the front end speed of Bourbon Calling, is down towards the inside. They line up here. It's going to be at the rail Market Alert. Any one of them wants the lead here as they come out of the chute. Up on the far outside there is Steinbeck, who's challenging. It's a moderate tempo early, but it's pressured. Market Alert and Dylan Davis, they will assert their nose in front. Right there is King Kumbale is up in the early mix, and 3 wide comes Bourbon Calling. 4 wide is Steinbeck, and Steinbeck is progressing in those red blinkers. Just off of them, Southern District is in a nice spot, is in 5th. Followed by Curlin's Wisdom, who broke on top, is now second to last. And the trailer come backing untreated. They went 24.35 for that opening quarter mile. Market Alert lets it out of notches, up by a neck. King Kumbale is right there in second. 3 wide still Bourbon Calling. Steinbeck, no choice but to go wide. Might try to drop down towards the inside here with less than 4 furlongs to travel. Southern District is progressing from the back. Curlin's Wisdom, no move yet from Untreated. Untreated is under a ride at the back end of the field. The favorite is last. It's all Market Alert still in front. Market Alert, here comes Bourbon Calling, is ranging up on the outside as King Kumbale has dropped back. Curlin's Wisdom is moving through at the rail. Gonna be wide as Southern District towards the back end of the field. Steinbeck untreated with a lot of ground to make up. They reach the top of the stretch. Bourbon Calling is calling for the lead. It's Bourbon Calling in front, is trying to put away a stubborn Market Alert who won't go away. Curlin's Wisdom is making up some mile ground from third. No run there from untreated. It's all Bourbon Calling opening up here for Manny Franco. Now 2 lengths in front, approaching the 16th pole. Bourbon Calling is just striding away. Bourbon Calling will win this one impressively. It's all Bourbon Calling over Curlin's Wisdom, Market Alert, and King Kumbale in 1 minute 39.90 seconds.
Bourbon Calling, he has now won 3 in a row. Manny Franco for Antonio Arriaga. Welcome to those just joining us on SNY. Those already with us on FS1. 7th at Aqueduct just concluded, and Bourbon Calling makes it 3 straight victories. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling with you. And long layoff for untreated in here. Not today.
No, and it was quite obvious from early in the going that he wasn't going to be doing any running, but it's a, and listen, the race is over, but we did talk about in the show why we thought all of us untreated was vulnerable off a layoff, and short prices off layoffs are not always great bets. This is recency, right? Bourbon Calling coming off of his best career effort, or one of his best last time out. Even the second place finisher in good form, Curlin's Wisdom. These were horses that were all in good form, and they ran to their current good form.
Bourbon Calling goes off at 5-1, meets leading rider Manny Franco, now opens up a 7-win edge on the pursuer Dylan Davis.
He's had an unbelievable, he's riding it like I didn't even realize this. You know, he's riding it over 27%. This is a few days ago, but I didn't realize that. I mean, that's remarkable, and obviously says a lot about how he's riding, but also says a lot about the job his agent's doing, getting the right horses.
Yeah, that 6-win day, was that last Friday? Or a week ago Friday?
He's had a few of them, hasn't he? I don't know.
Seems like it.
Whatever.
Incredible Mate continues. 3-4-1-2 for Manny Franco. His first winner on this Sunday card. And an upset in the 7th. Well, the price is for you when we come back. We're going to take a break. When we return, the story of the next generation of Mott trainers. Riley Mott not shying away from what his father has already done in this game. He's embracing it. We'll be back. Would you believe that champions weren't measured by rings, but by a crown? That the history books were written on dirt? That the greatest of all time was a horse?
He is moving like a tremendous machine.
Experience the magic at this year's Belmont Stakes as we honor the 50th anniversary of Secretariat's legendary Triple Crown triumph. Join the celebration at Belmont Park on Saturday, June 10th. Tickets on sale now at BelmontStakes.com. Who you betting on? How about an app created specifically for horse racing? Nairo Bets. We specialize in thundering hooves, fist pumping, and boosting your bankroll with robust weekly promotions. And offer betting tips from actual horse racing experts. Bet all day and night, nationwide. Get the action and thrill of horse racing with Nairo Bets.
Global Campaign by 2, and Global Campaign will win the Grade 1 Woodward.
It is Global Campaign holding on to the lead. Global Campaign won the Peter Pan.
Tampa Bay Downs has a rich thoroughbred horse racing history in Florida dating back to 1926. Celebrities such as Babe Ruth, Jack Dempsey, and John Ringling all attended opening day. In 1981, Hall of Fame jockey Julie Crone won her first career race here, and in 2007, we saw Street Sense win the Tampa Bay Derby and go on later that year to win the Kentucky Derby. Featuring full fields, great turf racing, and a 15% takeout on our Pick 5, Tampa Bay Downs is live racing every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
We're back at America's Day of the Races, our program brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. 7th at Aqueduct, Bourbon Calling on a 3-race win streak. And Manny Franco with his first win on this Sunday card, teaming up with trainer Antonio Arrieta, owned by the Players Group.
Yeah, another very good performance by this horse, and sort of an under-the-radar trainer, Antonio Arrieta, who really does very good work, seemingly claiming. I mean, he claimed this horse for $32,000, and another trainer who has a horse who has back form, and he's able to get him back to that good form. This was some performance, and the Manny Franco meet continues.
Horse who was great at stakes, placed in the past. He claims him for 32, immediately stepped him up into much tougher company, and he's not looked back since. What a claim. $13 for the win. 3, 4, 1. And the 7th at Aqueduct. The feature's coming up next at Damon Runyon. First off, though, we're going back to Hot Springs. And the 7th at Oaklawn, 30,000 starter allowance. Mile and a 16th coming up here. We talked earlier in the program, Sakil Greatheart expected to take a lot of money, and they are. I'm going to long shot in here next door, too, with Atkins stretching out for the first time for the man we're about to tell you about. With a Hall of Fame pedigree, Riley Mott was ahead of the game before he ever began his training career. But instead of being intimidated of trying to follow in the footsteps of his dad's legendary exploits, he has embraced that challenge, trying to blaze his own path forward. Riley Mott is a trainer just like his father. Bill Mott was the youngest trainer inducted into the Hall of Fame at age 45 in 1998. Riley was just 7 years old. Following in the footsteps of a successful parent can be intimidating for some. Riley grew up feeling inspired at the thought of training horses like his dad.
Growing up and seeing his trophy cases at home and all the awards and accolades he's gotten, that was very cool to see at a young age. You know, when I was a young kid, I was pretty into ice hockey. Hockey was kind of my thing, and I had really brief dreams of playing in the NHL, but it's always been horse racing. Essentially all I've ever wanted to do, and it's been pretty cool to start living out my dream.
He learned the ins and outs of a stable as a teenager before serving as his father's assistant for 9 years.
There's a lot of things, you see and do every day, and I've grown up in the barn, and it's all I know. So as far as what I've learned, it's how to run, a top-class operation on the business side and on the equine side. But as far as, since I've started working with the horses and in the operation, Royal Delta sticks out.
Here is a champion again! Royal Delta has won the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic!
She was, two-time Breeders' Cup winner, multiple Eclipse Award winner, Hall of Famer. So to be around an animal like her, among others that I've been around, it's been, a real blessing and a treat.
In the fall of 2022, at the age of 30, Riley felt it was time to go out on his own.
Growing up, he always just told me that, the right opportunity would come. Not necessarily the first opportunity that came about, but I felt like at this point in my life, it was, the right decision to make to break off on my own, and so far, so good.
He won his first race at Churchill Downs on November 10th, 2022.
As far as the day went, it was just like any other day. I was, here in Arkansas at Oaklawn taking care of the barn.
And they're off.
The filly had been with us all summer in New York, and we shipped her to Churchill and watched the race on my cell phone on my sofa.
Time runs out! Unifying's the winner, trained by Riley Mott, his first winner. As a trainer, congratulations to Riley.
He was actually the first person to call me, which was pretty cool. I think they hadn't even pulled up on the gallop out, and he was ringing me, and I think we were both holding back the tears a little bit over the phone. Pretty special moment. Like I said, I've been wanting and dreaming to do this my entire life, and it all feels very natural.
Everybody split out, come between. He make a run, but they win, and he take advantage and throw everybody,
Dad's been doing pretty good, too. He had 2 wins on Breeders' Cup weekend, and then 5 days later, that was November 5th, November 10th, his son Riley gets the first win of his career with just his 3rd starter.
Yeah, but Bill won like his first race probably in the middle of nowhere in Idaho. Riley won his first race at Churchill Downs. I don't know. If you look at the career trajectory and Riley can follow it, the sky's the limit for him.
It would appear that way. Assisted dad for about 9 years before deciding to go out on his own, and you see a lot of dad in Riley, don't you?
Yeah, well, we were talking about listen to his voice. You can hear a little Bill in there as well, and obviously they are extremely big shoes to fill. I mean, the career that Bill Mott has had is really is second to nobody. Certainly currently training, and most people that have trained throughout their careers, but he's obviously learned a lot from his dad, and wish him the best of luck. Nice to see him starting out, and hopefully onwards and upwards for Riley.
We had a pretty nice win just a couple of days ago with Traverse at Oaklawn. Looks like this could be a really nice horse. Claiborne homebred, who has come to his barn and now has put together back-to-back wins at this Oaklawn meet.
Well, good to see. And, of course, see him train those horses for Claiborne. And this was a horse that just really seems to be putting it together. 87 buyer in this race, a 4-year-old. That's great to see. And sort of started out at synthetic. Tom Drury had him, but seems to be doing well. And of course, Bill, you don't think of Bill training for a lot of horses for Claiborne, but he has had some horses for them over the years. You don't, you think more of Shug McGay, right, and some other trainers, but there's a connection there. And I think that Riley probably has a connection as well with Walker Hancock. You see two young guys doing well in the game, see them doing well together, so that's great to see.
We need to see that next Mott generation, moving forward. So keep our eyes on how he does, and a nice horse that he has in his barn. We may see him again at this meet, Traverse.
Hope so, and I'm rooting for Riley to do well. It's the same thing, you look at Norm, who obviously worked with his father, Norm Cassie, and going off on his own, and things are going well for him, and things going well for Riley as well, and expect to see some good things from him as the time goes on. And he gets more opportunity. Listen, it's all about opportunity. I don't care who you are. You got to get the opportunities, and any trainer will tell you that.
Feature next in New York, 3-year-old sprinting in the Damon Runyon for New York breds. And Andiamo a Firenze, we talked about at the top of the program when we first came on the air. Tried that Triple Crown Trail in the Jerome and the Withers at 1 1/8 most recently. It's not for him. He's a sprinter, so back to doing what he does best. Right now, he's the 8-5 favorite. Others to contend with, though, who are on the come. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. Ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Warfront is the sire of over 100 lifetime stakes winners, including some of the sport's most talented runners both at home and abroad. The leading turf sire of 2022 by stakes winners and stakes performers. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on FS1, regional networks across the country as well. We got the feature next in New York here. New York breds in this Damon Runyon 3-year-old sprinting. 6 furlongs, 8-5 favorite. Kelly Breen's Andiamo Firenze. Race named after, here he is, journalist and author, the great Damon Runyon.
I'm guessing he would have been a fun guy to know. Those are some pretty good stories. You ever see Guys and Dolls?
I did, yeah. I need to see it again, though.
God, I saw it on stage with Nathan Lane playing Nathan Detroit many years ago because I'm old. But Damon Runyon, obviously. If you've never read Damon Runyon stories and you're watching this show, you need to read some of them.
It is worth a read, no question. What a great character. Let's head downstairs, Maggie Wolfendet, for more on our feature.
We'll take a look at your current favorite. That's Andiamo a Firenze, who arguably is the most accomplished in this field. And the 2 experiments going longer did not work out. And I mean, I just wrote from the get-go, sprinter, sprinter, sprinter. So get my wish here. He turns back and he gets back in against State Bred Company. My problem with him today, though, is that, well, A, when you stretch a horse out and then turn him back, you often dull their speed. So I can't necessarily foresee him being that much of a pace presence, at least early on. And furthermore, he really hasn't changed much from when he made his debut way back when in his early 2-year-old career in June at Belmont to now. He just kind of looks the same. Now, he looks fine overall, but I just thought there were more interesting options in here, and I know a lot of people are interested in number 2, Looms Boldly, named for a good friend, Pete Fornatal, and owned by 10 Strike Racing. He is a hefty son of Golden Sense. He really gets into the feed tub quite well. So when he came back off a bit of a freshening last time out, he gave every indication that he needed the race. He was heavy, he was soft, he was washy and hot. And today, I see none of that. Well, he is still, quite the burly type. He's just a lot more defined. He hasn't turned a hair. He's relaxed. He's not indicating that he still needs a race. So I think, too, as Andy has pointed out, he might be alone on the lead today, Greg.
See how that pace scenario pans out. Thank you, Maggie. Post-parade coming up momentarily. Manny Franco will team up with Brad Cox on Looms Boldly, the 2.
Well, this is something that David Aragona had been talking about earlier, and I think it was a valid point. With East Coast Girl coming out, you've taken out a major player in here and a horse that would have confused me, and I'd been calling him She's the whole race if he had been in here. And while Don't Lose Cruise has the speed to be up close, they seem to have done well rating him 2 back going shorter, so I wonder how aggressive they're going to be cutting back. And if Looms Boldly is able to get clear in here, he could have a pace advantage. It's arguable the rail's been a bit of an advantage today, but then you look at a race like the last race. How much of an advantage was it? There have been too many other opposite kind of races, but still, it's not bad. And if Looms Boldly is able to control, he might be dangerous in here.
To Oaklawn, they're 7th. At a mile and a 16th, 30,000 starter allowance. Sakil the 6, Greatheart the 7. Taking a lot of attention on the board, Paul.
Yeah, they are, Greg. It looks like the outside 4 horses here. At least I think the race goes through. The problem is there's not a lot of speed in here, but the speed that you're going to get, is it going to be cheap speed? When I look at maybe the 5 Atkins, this horse has had gait issues, but a horse that's going to stretch out for the first time. But he's a 3-year-old. So he's actually carrying 113 pounds, a newly turned 3-year-old. So he was just a 2-year-old a couple months ago facing some older horses in here. So the 5 to me at 20 to 1, I think the horse should be 40 or 60 to 1. But maybe the horse can get out of the gate and go to the front end. But when you look at Sakil and you look at Greatheart, is Greatheart going to sit a better trip? Sakil really liked the mud. But, you can go back to some of the other races this horse has. My worry is that his best races or his best numbers have been on muddy racetracks. When you can go to Greatheart and you have some better races over turf, actually, but some good races over fast racetracks. So I'm leaning the 7 a tiny bit over the 6 because the racetrack is faster. They kind of have the same running style. They were right at the wire last time, too, as well. So if you subscribe into that race they ran the last time, they are just the 2 horses. I prefer the 7 over the 6 maybe today. Carnivore, the 8, it seems like rotating jockeys with this horse, but at 27 to 1 was just right behind to 6 and 7. It's going to have to improve. I don't know if 6 to 1's the kind of price that you like, but the last time Bejarano was aboard, this horse almost got the job done, and I think can get a good trip in here. The 9 Get Through is interesting because usually you see when Chris Hartman claims horses, they usually, explode a little bit more. This horse kind of ran around the racetrack to Jolly Tommy, who was much the best that day for Cipriano Contreras. So the 9's a tough read for me. The other tough read is the deuce, Charter Oak. I don't know if you guys remember, but that was the horse, Don't Forget. If you remember, I told you guys there was a little birdie that said Don't Forget was not going to lose the last. That was that one horse that got bet down from 12 to 1 to 8 to 5 and jogged by 9.5. So I have no clue what to do with Charter Oak because I'm wondering if that race just got a high speed figure because it's the best race that he's ever run. So I hate to say it, but it looks like this race is 6, 7, 8. But I probably prefer the 7 over all of them.
I want to know what that little birdie thinks. I forget about Paul.
Yeah,
Who's
who
a
is
little
this
birdie
birdie?
like? You had made a good point to me earlier where you thought Charter Oak was a little interesting. And with a scratch-driven 1, he is supposed to be the controlling speed. We'll find out if it's good enough, but at 7 to 1, makes me want to bet a couple bucks.
He's put together back-to-back races. Paul mentioned that speed figure. Was it a little bit high? He wasn't that far off it the start before that. Today's third off a long layoff. I thought a lot of reasons to like him today.
Yeah, I think very interesting. No, I think he's an interesting. If you're looking for an alternative, especially to the fact that you've got, and there's nothing wrong with the 6 and 7. I don't think we have a knock on them, but they're 2 to 1 and 9 to 5.
Now let's look at the race which they met February 25th, and Shaquille, he would just outfinish Greatheart by 3/4 of a length.
Yeah, I mean, I really couldn't make an excuse for Greatheart. I thought ran well in here. Thought they both sort of ran fine, but it was a sloppy sealed track, and they ran those big races. We'll see. I mean, obviously, Sequil, let's face it, Sequil has improved immeasurably for Robertino Diodoro. It's as simple as that. But Hollendorfer's also got Greatheart into good form.
Last time Greatheart, by the way, was on a fast track, he won.
And I'll tell you, that's something I think worth pointing out. Unlike Sequil, who's improved not just for Diodoro, but in 2 sealed tracks, at least Greatheart has that effort on a fast track, and unsealed, harrowed.
Shaquille, though, the 9 to 5 favorite for Diodoro. It's the rematch with the 6 and 7. Let's go to Jim Byers for the call.
And the last to load is Get Through. Get Through moves up. They're in the gate. And they're off. Shaquille came out well. So did Treaty on the inside and Charter Oak. Then comes Atkins racing in 4th. To the inside, Uncle Burley is 5th. And Greatheart is tucking in for David Cabrera. He's in front of 2 runners. They are Carnivore, closest to the inside. And a 3 wide Get Through is trailing the field onto the backstretch. Treaty and Tyler Bays. Long shots, carving out the early pace here. Treaty by 3. Charter Oak is 2nd. Shaquille has settled on the outside of rivals in 3rd. And Uncle Burley is 4th, followed length and a half back. In a spread-out group by Atkins, he's racing in 5th. Carnivore on the inside is 6th. And outside of him, Greatheart is in the clear toward the outside, but Greatheart is probably double digits off the lead, and Get Through is trailing the field with a half mile to go. It's still Treaty. Treaty leads the way by 2 lengths. Charter Oak is next, and Shaquille remains content to sit 3rd on the outside. He'll be 3 wide into that far turn. And then Uncle Burley on the inside, and Greatheart starting to move to mid-pack, followed by Atkins, Get Through on the outside, and Carnivore on the inside as they come to the final quarter mile. Treaty is now joined by both Charter Oak and a 3 wide Shaquille. Shaquille and Charter Oak go on by. Treaty drops out of it on the inside. Greatheart up on the outside races toward 3rd as they move through the stretch. Shaquille is put to the test here. Charter Oak is right with him, glued a half length back to the inside. Greatheart can do no better than 3rd. It's Shaquille. Shaquille is winning it by 1 length in the end. Over Charter Oak, then Greatheart, and the Carnivore was 4th.
Shaquille Robertino Diodoro, 2 wins since he's claimed this horse in 3 starts.
Yeah, and, he was into a drive. We were talking about it. Torres was running, and Nick Juarez was sitting chilly on Charter Oak. Shaquille got up next to him, and Nick asked. He just didn't have quite the answer as Shaquille did down here. And with the one treaty going the lead, it took away that potential advantage that Charter Oak could have had. I mean, the long shot went to a fast pace early.
6-2-7. Shaquille again gets the better of Greatheart, and this time does it with a win. As we get back to New York here, our feature, Damon Runyon. Here's What's Up, Bro, Dylan Davis.
Yeah, he's going to get rated in here. He did run well last time, but in my opinion, you got paid at 5-1 last time, and you are getting an underlay at 9-5 today.
Looms boldly for Brad Cox with Manny Franco.
He's going to the lead with Manny Franco, and I think he's a major threat because of that.
How quick will Andiamo a Firenze be cutting back in distance?
That's really the question, and it's dulled his speed, and you wonder a lot of things. He should be sprinting. They're doing the right thing, but I don't trust him.
Don't Lose Cruz. This horse has quickness as well. He cuts back.
He is my top choice in here. I thought he was more suited. He'll likely stalk the number 2, Looms Boldly.
And shipping in from Finger Lakes, Bobby Ride. He broke his maiden, took a big move forward on a wet track, start number 2.
He did. I don't think anybody's really run out of that race. They are 5-furlong race would bother me. He's a total wild card.
4 minutes to post in the Damon Runyon. Let's go to Jonathan.
Wolfie, look, I think it's the race is likely between 2 horses, the 1 and the 5. I ended up siding with the 5, Don't Lose Cruz, for a couple of reasons. One, I know it sounds like a broken record, but it is something that I take very seriously. This horse is drawn outside of his main competition. There is, when it's close between 2, give me the 1 who's outside. I feel like this is a very close situation. The other thing about Don't Lose Cruz is back in October as a 2-year-old. That maiden special weight win. This horse ran a figure, depending on what figures you look at, Timeform US, ran a figure that's faster than anything What's Up Bro has run. And in fact, earned that figure as a 2-year-old, which is faster than What's Up Bro's last race as a 3-year-old. I just think Don't Lose Cruz has more under the hood. And based on the last race going probably a distance that doesn't really suit Don't Lose Cruz, there's probably going to be a little bit more stamina kind of built into there because of the way that race unfolded, showing that early speed going a little bit longer and then cutting back. So I'm going to go with the 5, Don't Lose Cruz, Maggie, but I'm telling you, I'm rooting for 10 Strike Racing and my friends over there and Looms Boldly for my main man, PTF.
Well, I'll just become his new best friend because I picked Looms Boldly, JK. Just kidding. But furthermore, whenever we all land on the same horse, they never win. So I'll let you guys have Don't Lose Cruz. But let's talk about him for a second. I completely agree with what JK is saying, that it gets that extra stamina built in. And honestly, if I was here in the paddock for that Gander Stakes, I would have been optimistic about his chances going the mile because he's one of those horses that's built like he could go further, but they're going straight back to what has worked. I caught up with Dave Duggan. I wanted to see what tactics were, and he held it close to the vets. He said, I think I'm just going to let Kendrick play things out and let the chips fall as they may. And I will say, watching Kendrick, who he will blast one away from there and give it a really big warm-up. He immediately kind of grabbed Don't Lose Cruz here in front of the grandstand and just made him do this like collected canter. So to me, that says that they're not going to necessarily be on this end, that they're going to let Looms Boldly, I would think, go out there and do his thing, but also probably not letting him too far out of his sights. I think he's a very viable option in here, but I'm going to take Looms Boldly today.
All right, for 10 Strike, Brad Cox, Manny Franco 5-1 on the 2. That gate-to-wire win to break his maiden. It came on a muddy track, second start of his career. We'll see if he can turn the table on What's Up Bro and some other talented runners here.
Yeah, there's a lot of chess moves going on in this race, right? You look at the race 2 back with What's Up Bro and Don't Lose Cruz, right? Don't Lose Cruz was able to stalk. The pace got contentious. What's Up Bro wasn't able to finish. One of the reasons I liked him last time was he didn't figure to get in that situation again, and they rated him, and that worked out very, very well for him. The pace got hot, and he got a perfect trip. But now you're taking 2-1 on a horse off a perfect trip win, and he's inside. They're going to rate him again, and Don't Lose Cruz has shown he was better than him. He's going to stalk. I think Looms Boldly falls in front. And the wild card is obviously Andiamo a Firenze, but I think this horse at this point, right race or not, is a horrible gamble at 8-5, because I think there's a real question of whether or not he's just the same horse and they can cut him back and expect those good performances, though he was very good as a 2-year-old.
Yeah, is he the horse? He's 8-5 right now. Andiamo a Firenze, there he is loading up, who was so dominant as a 2-year-old at Saratoga when he won that funny side, cutting back in distance. He wants to sprint. He'll get that today. It's the Damon Runyon feature on the Sunday card from Aqueduct. Here's Chris Griffin.
All in line. All set for the Damon Runyon. And they're off. Bit of an awkward start for Bobby Ride. Speed from Looms Boldly right out to the front, but has company. It's Andiamo a Firenze right to the outside. They fly early. Off of them is going to be Don't Lose Cruise, then What's Up Bro, and after the start, Bobby Ride is the trailer. Looms Boldly is shaking loose on the front end. It's Looms Boldly who's up by 3/4 of a length. Andiamo a Firenze not going anywhere, stalking right there from second. What's Up Bro and Dylan Davis watching them from third. Outside of that rival comes Don't Lose Cruise, and still far back to Bobby Ride. They went 22.39 for a pumped-up opening quarter mile. It's Looms Boldly the target. Andiamo a Firenze is in pursuit, is stalking up on the outside from second. Looms Boldly is still a neck in front. In behind them, it's a tight hole here. What's Up Bro is moving towards the outside for a run. A quarter mile left to go. Looms Boldly kicks for home, hugs the rail. It's Looms Boldly in front. Andiamo a Firenze with every chance to run on by, and What's Up Bro is now in the clear. Looms Boldly is very game down towards the inside for a final furlong. Andiamo a Firenze cannot cut into the margin. It's Looms Boldly for a final 16th. Looms Boldly is still in front. Andiamo a Firenze is going to try one final time. Looms Boldly, Andiamo a Firenze. Looms Boldly wins the Damon Runyon over Andiamo a Firenze. Then came What's Up Bro, Don't Lose Cruise, and Bobby Ride in 1 minute 13.75 seconds.
Looms Boldly under Manny Franco, got to the front and just keeps on going.
Yeah, no, it was a very good point. To be fair, it wasn't that slow a pace. They went 22:39. Suddenly, Andiamo a Firenze, who couldn't make the lead at a mile and an eighth, was passing a blistering pace in here. And I think the rail may be a bit of an advantage, but let's just talk about the rail. I mean, What's Up Bro, who got the absolute perfect trip. Dylan Davis couldn't have ridden him any better. He rode the railing angle out in the stretch. He had nothing, and he was on the rail for, 70% of the race, 65% of the race. This horse ran very, very well, as did Andiamo a Firenze. And once again, you do the right thing by your horse, he'll do the right thing by you. And I think the connections now know we won't see him past 7 furlongs.
Here's your winner, staying close to that fence under Manny Franco.
And how about Kinshin? I mean, I got to tell you, Jonathan, we got to get Jonathan on it. There is just no loyalty in this game.
This is his team, and he goes elsewhere.
For people that don't know, Looms Boldly is Pete Fornatel's Twitter account, I believe. So he's named for Pete Fornatel, who, very good friend of Jonathan Kinshin's. Pete Fornatel, who was his beginning of the game, sort of doing stuff. He was our stage manager at the Ciro seminars many years ago, and how he met a lot of us, and he met Harvey Pack as well, who did a lot of stuff with going forward. And Pete, of course, he's everywhere in racing. You can't avoid him. And he works with Jonathan. It's 10 Strike. And, 10 Strike names a horse for Pete. And Jonathan, 5-1, and you didn't pick and bet him. I'm embarrassed for you.
Look, guys, I couldn't jinx the team. It was a bit too much weight.
Yeah. Keep
Pete's got enough
excuses.
with the fedora, the beard. He didn't need me on his back as well. Congratulations to them. Homebred, if I'm not mistaken, for the team as well. So awesome performance.
I don't know.
Yeah, Marshall Graham, Clay Sanders bred this one. 10 Strike, well done. Nice horse.
I wish we could get Marshall Graham and Pete on, because I got a feeling. I mean, I see a feud brewing here.
Great food connoisseur as well, Pete. Looms Boldly, 5-1 winner. 2-3-1, big effort from this horse. Still lightly raced. Looks like a lot of upside in his future. Son of Golden Sense, 2 wins his last 3 starts. Leads every step of the way in the Damon Runyon.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
It's Rock Your World in command. Medina Spirit making no progress. And it's going to be Rock Your World to take them all the way in the Santa Anita Derby. He's undefeated and wins by 4.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back at America's Day of the Races. Feature in the books at Aqueduct and the Damon Runyon. It's looms boldly. 2 wins now. His last 3 starts, leads every step of the way for the victory here. Winner's Circle lead-in brought to you by Fasig-Tipton Digital, North America's #1 digital auction platform for thoroughbreds. Fasig-Tipton Digital, the newest from the oldest. Learn more at digital.fasigtipton.com. Let's go downstairs to Maggie.
Here with New York assistant for Brad Cox, Dustin Dugas. And Dustin, as you were just telling me, you're very familiar with this entire family that Looms Boldly comes from, a homebred for 10 Strike Racing.
Yeah, you know, he's the dam's really thrown some nice horses. She actually had a 10-year-old winner the other day at Parks, and she really throws some durable, some long-lasting, some runners.
Now, he is a big dude. I mean, there is a lot of him. Is he a horse that you think kind of needs to race into fitness? You know, he needed his first start, he came back and won. He needed his last start off a bit of a layoff, and it resulted in a win today.
Yeah, you know, Manny and I both said the same thing in the paddock. You know, we thought he needed that last race, and, you know, he really, it showed today. You know, he was a bit more aggressive on the lead than he was last race. He was, you know, he didn't break as sharply, and, you know, he sat behind some horses, didn't really care for it, but Manny was really sharp today and got him out of the gate and on the engine.
That was a sharp effort. Fast fractions. Talk a little bit about just the impression he gave you today.
No, very good impression. You know, I told Manny too after the race, I thought they might have been going a little quick, but Manny was very, very confident in the horse himself. You know, he's breezed him too. So, you know, it all just worked out.
Well, massive congratulations and job well done with him today.
Thanks so much.
Looms Boldly. We got to play Where in the World is Pete Fornatale, because his horse is here at the Big A.
He's probably enjoying a terrific dinner at a Michelin-rated restaurant somewhere.
He's probably somewhere warmer. I've seen him here at least once for this horse running. You know what? Kinchin probably told him he couldn't win. He's probably planning on coming, and his buddy Jonathan Kinchin told him, why go? You've got no shot.
Well, now, I mean, this was a nice win, beating a couple very talented horses in here. So you start dreaming of what's next. This horse could have a very nice campaign this year.
Well, you know, I mean, we were talking about the filly downtown Mischief going to the Bowery. There's the Mike Lee at 7 furlongs on that New York Bred Showcase Day. So all these horses are kind of looking at it, and they run together, and he ran very well. It's 7 furlongs, different situation. But listen, he's done very well. He's already done well. And, I mean, listen, I don't see any 10-strike horses named for Jonathan Kinchin.
One day.
I don't know. After this performance today, I think he's going to stick to the Pete Fornatale thing because it seems to be good luck for him.
Yeah. And the fact that he even picked the horse?
I don't know. It's a dark moment for the show today, I got to admit. 9th
at Aqueduct, going to close things out with this race. This is an incredibly difficult race to try and come up with a strong opinion. $20,000 claiming group, 1-turn mile. How is anybody 2-1 in here?
Well, look at the board, too, though. I mean, yeah, I agree. Rob Atras off the claim or not. nobody's higher than 8-1. And I said to you when we were in the break, I said, I don't know about you, Greg, but I have absolutely no idea who's going to win this last race. And you looked at me and just sort of raised your eyebrows and said the same thing.
We're going to take a time out while the post-parade from this race. When we return, we still have the feature coming up at Oaklawn, 13 minutes away from that one. 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th. We will be back with more America's Day at the Races right after this.
Every hair, every muscle, every contour, every pulse. In the juvenile, in the Belmont,
Essential Quality has won the Belmont Stakes.
well named.
The industry has a few things that we have to take care of better, and one was the aftercare of the horses.
If we did nothing, these horses would end up in very bad places.
Go back to where we were years and years and decades ago when it was just considered de rigueur that you could just send these horses to slaughter.
It's different than any other program that was put into place.
I remember that meeting at Belmont Park. It was a dream.
It is a first line of defense for those who are concerned about what happens to the equine athlete after he's done racing.
Without the TAA to provide that oversight, there would be a big void in terms of making sure that we have this ongoing safe environment for our off-the-track racehorses.
We started with some 21 organizations across the country, and now we're up to over 82 facilities throughout the country and giving away almost just under $25 million.
It's the one shining accomplishment that we have that we can point to say we really do love our horses.
Just the word aftercare has become part of the discussion, has been part of the vernacular in a way that it was not when I started this position around the start of 2013.
It's a daunting task that the TAA and its accredited organizations have taken on. And that's why the industry itself has got to fund it.
Every time I turn around across the country, the TAA staff is there, and they're shaking hands and they're kissing babies, and they're doing the blocking and tackling right that needs to be done.
We have a social responsibility to make sure that thoroughbred aftercare is also #1 on the list.
Back on America's Day of the Races on our FS1 coverage. We have the nightcap from New York coming up, the feature at Oaklawn, 8 minutes away. Of course, we heard from Acacia Clement earlier in the program, coming up Monday through Wednesday, that OBS Mart's 2-year-old in training sale, and Acacia able to catch up with those sending out one of the fastest 2-year-olds we saw in preparation for it.
So happy to be joined by Jimbo Gladwell of Top Line Sales. And Jimbo, you have some fast horses going into the March sale here this year, particularly that Good Magic colt that we saw work 9-3. Can you tell me a little bit about that horse?
You know, we had a great work show, but that horse in particular really shined. He's been straightforward all year. Always been just a step ahead of the rest of them. Does it so easy, and a chill colt at the end of the shank too. Really laid back, but we're hoping for big things. I mean, it's so exciting when you sell a nice one and they get to run it next year and you're cheering them on. So we're hoping for big things here at the sale, and the buzz is on fire.
We've seen people out at the barns today on Sunday looking at horses. What's the atmosphere been like, and what have been some of the responses from potential buyers?
You know, it's been unbelievable. The traffic has been fast and furious. They've been through the barns a couple times already. Just everybody is here, and it seems like they want to buy horses. So we're as excited as we've been in years.
You and your wife, Tori, have an operation here in Ocala. How important is it pointing to a sale like this one at OBS?
It's very good for us. It's in our backyard. It's cheaper for us on help. It's easier when you get to go home and sleep in your own bed. But OBS does such a good job of getting the buyers in here from all over the world. They're flying in and they're ready to buy horses. They've had some success off this track, and a lot of the sellers, their horses come back in great shape. Very few chips. The shins are down. It's just a good track to buy off of, in my opinion. And as an investment, you don't want to bust your horses up trying to get them to the sale, and this track really lets you do that. So, I think OBS has done a great job of getting the buyers in here. They had the track great, and it's a great environment. People are ready to buy horses.
Well, you get a horse to go 9 and change, there's going to be a lot of buzz. That was a Good Magic colt.
Yeah, interesting to see. Like to watch those workouts and, kind of see them when those horses show up, and you can go to the OBS sales site and watch the workouts.
All right, our feature next at Oaklawn, 3-year-old fillies, mile and a 16th, and got to look off screen here at Dwayne Lucas's filly, Take Charge Brianna. She looks sensational. She is the 6-5 favor right now in a race that looks like there is a lot of speed. Let's go to Paul LaDuca for more.
Yeah, and it looks like the betting is obviously between these 3 fillies in here. Stellar Lily, the 2 effortlessly elegant. It's so hard to say, I know, Andy. Take Charge Brianna as well. And it's going to be how the dynamics play out in here. You do have the one key to success, doesn't have a ton of speed. So the 2 and the 3, what's going to happen early on in this race? Now, the 2 did get left in the Honeybee last time, and I know that Norm Cassidy is really, really high on this horse. And to go from a maiden special weight to a grade 3 and basically got left in the gate, hesitated a little bit, and just didn't get her best running. But everybody that's ran against wet paint seems like they've come back to win, but they've all been on kind of sloppy racetracks. So we'll see what happens here. This filly by Liam's Map, I think she's talented enough. We'll see if Stellar Lily's able to keep pressure on her. And if that happens, then, yeah, Take Charge Brianna is the horse that can sit in that spot. Dwayne Lucas's barn is just on fire. Again, a horse that just doesn't get out of the gate. Just sort of falls out of the gate. But what I do like is, only a 6-horse field, she never breaks well. It's just the bottom line. I mean, she's just going to fall out of the gate and sit there and hope that there's some kind of pace that, develops in front of her. So David Cabrera takes over in the irons. 1 for 9 lifetime. This horse gets Lasix for only the 2nd time in her career, too, as well. And if you're going to look for anybody else, I just, the 5, out of a maiden 50 is really tough to get to. And then the 9 for Hollendorfer, maybe that's a horse that can show some speed. It's just, I just can't see anything outside the 2 and 4. I just think the 3 stepping up against these 2 horses. And I do think the 4, at the end of the day, will probably outfoot these horses at the end of the day down the middle of the racetrack.
Public seems to be in agreement. Now, obviously keep your eyes on the beginning of this race. The 2 did not break out of the gate well at all in that honeybee, so you have to be a little concerned.
Absolutely. I mean, it was. I agree with you, and especially because she has a real rival here. And the other thing is, if she doesn't break cleanly, then she has no chance to get the lead from Stellar Lily. And her weapon here, potentially, is her speed. And if you take away being in front, she's really in a tough spot, especially considering the 4, Take Charge Brianna, is a deeper closer. We'll see how things work out. Listen, it's once again, I hate looking at the board and going, yeah, I agree, I like the 2 favorites, but I do.
And even if she does break well, I mean, this filly here, we're looking at Stellar Lily. She
not
is
slow.
Still pretty quick.
I agree. She's not slow at all. So she's really got a break in there.
Let's take a look at her. She, like Effortlessly Elegant, was stretching out for the first time last start. She had a few more starts underneath her belt. It was a wet track. She did break. She got the lead, and she went gate to wire.
I agree. I don't like her as a win candidate here. I don't love the race she's coming out of. The trainer doesn't have very good numbers coming off maiden wins on the dirt. I just don't really like her in here, but I agree that she's quick, and she could be a flying limit. Paulie knows me too well. When he was struggling over Effortlessly Elegant's name, and I don't blame him, it's not easy, he knew I was laughing. He just knew.
That was great.
He just knew. You looked at me.
That was Paul's best call all meet long.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
7-5 favoritism. It's bouncing back and forth. It now goes to this filly here. Another try to go long, and obviously, as we just said, it's all about the break for her.
Yeah, it is. But as you said, even if she breaks, it's not clear that she's going to have an easy time on the front end. And if she breaks and the 3 engages and the pace is at least honest, it's going to make it easier for Take Charge Brianna, that's for sure.
Jonathan, how do you see it?
Well, Wolfie, oh boy, I don't want Andy coming for me again. He's been hard on me a little bit today. I'm going to go with the 2, Effortlessly Elegant. Nailed it. Look, if you look at this race 2 back, this horse ran extremely well, ran fast that day. It was a muddy racetrack, but the number wasn't too far off. Like overall, the overall performance, the number was kind of far off. The overall performance was not too far off from what this horse did in the maiden race as a 2-year-old in November at Churchill. So I'm not shocked. I believe that they figured that Effortlessly Elegant, I almost messed it up that time, earned 2 back is a real number. Now, in the Honeybee, I'm going to forgive because it's a sloppy racetrack, and it was the first time trying 2 turns. I don't really have a problem. You also ran into a monster in wet paint, and not to mention, you also broke slow. So I'm going to forgive that last performance. I'm going to pretend it never happened, and if that's the case, I'm going to bet off of the 2-back race, and I do think that the 2, Effortlessly Elegant, can win this race. It's not really effortless to say that name.
First of all, Kinchin started it with that vacation nonsense. Not that he's wrong. I don't see him inviting me on vacations, by the way. So
he wasn't. He was just saying you'd be in a better mood with some vacation time. I think he was advocating that you get some because you work so hard.
I'm in a wonderful mood. I'm here with you all the time. How could I be in a bad mood?
That was nice of you to say. The key with that name, take it slow. That is not an easy one to get out. Even money now, that is something we did not expect to see here. She's unproven. Even if she breaks, she's going to have pace pressure, you would think. We don't know if she can go long.
Right, that's the problem. You're taking a very short price on a horse that even under, like you say, if things go well, we have no confidence that she's going to be good going longer. So I think there are some massive question marks for Effortlessly Elegant. And at similar prices, I would prefer to take Take Charge Brianna, who you know is going to get the distance near. Now, listen, I'm not going to say that Take Charge Brianna is any kind of superstar. She's sort of picking up pieces and running mediocre figures, but she fits very well in here. And even if the 2 breaks, the 2 could engage with the 3, and that's going to make it very easy for Take Charge Brianna.
You would think that would lead to a great setup for that Dwayne Lucas filly, the 4. There she is, 7-5 right now. David Cabrera adjusting those goggles as they make their way to the starting gate. Really, it's difficult to make any kind of case for the other 3 in here. The 1 key to success, sprinter stretching back out. Watch this money. The 5 when gate to wire gets softer.
Claim from Asmussen.
What about Midnight Heiress?
Well, she's a New York bred, interestingly enough, that I'm not sure why she's not running in New York. Probably should come here. that won a very slow race sprinting, but maybe she improved stretching out. Ken McPeak has okay numbers, but second-time stars to break their maidens in sprint stretching out, he's 0 for 5, but a small sample size. New Jersey?
Yeah.
Goodbye. I'm looking at the wrong. I'm sorry. I was looking at the 8 horse.
Okay.
And so everything I said was stupid, not just that. So you didn't even notice how dumb I was actually being.
And they're off. Stellar Lily has hustled hard here and goes to the early lead. Midnight Heiress had a prompt break. Effortlessly Elegant sits third on the inside. In between horses is Watch This Money. And then it's a 2.5 or 3 length break. Back to Key to Success. Take Charge Brianna. The late runner is going to sit just off the inside. In 6th as they move to the backstretch, Stellar Lily wanted the lead, and she has it here and maintains a 1-length cushion onto the backstretch over Midnight Heiress. Effortlessly Elegant sits right in behind them. Ricardo Santana aboard, and they're a prominent third, and itching to move up on the inside is Effortlessly Elegant, followed by Watch This Money. Take Charge Brianna is headstrong, and she's raced into a bolder 5th, and Key to Success now trails the field as Stellar Lily takes them into the far turn by 3/4 of a length now to Midnight Heiress, who's been prompting and is a little bit closer in 2nd, and then to the inside Effortlessly Elegant, and to the outside Watch This Money. And Watch This Money has poked her head into 3rd. Effortlessly Elegant stays in touch there, looking for a bit of a clear path. Then Take Charge Brianna. She may be quite wide, coming for home. And along the inside, Key to Success trails the field. Final 1/4 mile. And Midnight Heiress up to confront Stellar Lily. Stellar Lily, Midnight Heiress. Here's Take Charge Brianna with a sweeping move. Effortlessly Elegant trying to jam through. Contact there. Effortlessly Elegant did not get through cleanly. Take Charge Brianna leads it. Here's Effortlessly Elegant driving through on the inside. Take Charge Brianna. Effortlessly Elegant. Effortlessly Elegant on the inside. And she will get there after a very rough stretch drive, just out nodding Take Charge Brianna, then Key to Success and Stellar Lily.
Effortlessly Elegant. She broke. She didn't get to the front, and then she just barrels her way through to get up for the win here at even money.
Yeah, it seemed like she did bump the other horses, and we'll see if they look at this and she did something wrong. And it felt a little bit like the number 3 was coming out, and that might have caused that to happen. I mean, I thought they were absolutely insane rating her. Absolutely crazy. Turned out that it worked out for her after some anxious moments. And frankly, Take Charge Brianna, was she a little wider? Yeah, she was a little wider. Not that much wider when it mattered.
Blue
she
cap
won.
between horses here in that second position.
Can we watch that again? Sorry, guys.
It definitely got tight in there. Ricardo Santana Jr., he had a lot underneath him.
It just felt to me like, at least watching it initially, that the 3 horse was coming out, Stellar Lily, and she's the one that caused the whole thing to get much tighter. So let's see. She's behind
blue
the
silks, blue cap.
So there's a hole. I don't know.
Just get sandwiched a little bit. It looked like, yeah, the 3 did that. That hip.
She does bump that
went
horse.
Into the 2 a little bit.
Yeah, the bump. She does bump that horse in the outside. I don't know. You know, she was the best horse. That would be ridiculous to you know, anybody who bet her in anything, whether or not the stewards will look at it and decide there was some unnecessary bumping by Santana. But I don't know. Too much going on. Hard to blame anybody there.
Brave filly who had no fear to go through that opening.
Not an easy thing to do, stretching out. And to outfinish a horse like the 4 as a closer at a full head of steam as well. But nice finish in a race where they actually ran to the betting in the sense that they were close and they finished close.
Inquiry sign is up as we expected. 2-4-1-3 unofficially as we get back to New York. Nightcap from Aqueduct. 9-5 favorite is the 5 Irish Honor. Let's go to Maggie.
Oh, this one's a little tough to suss out, as we'll take a look at number 5 Irish Honor, who came in from out of town last time and was picked up by Rob Atras. Always a good thing, right? Physically looks great. I have no problems. Wish he was showing maybe just a touch more energy if I had to be critical of a short price favorite, and was wired that day by Sundays with Sandy, who did come back, not to duplicate the effort, but in a much tougher spot, I would say. So the thing I didn't like, and I asked Rob Atras about it, of what maybe happened, is that he got to the turn and he ran backwards, and then he kind of came on again. And, there were a lot of horses around him. Could have been kind of a similar situation like we saw with Mama's Gotta Run, that she gets intimidated, or could it be something, with his mechanics when he switches to that inside lead? Maybe he doesn't feel as good. So Rob wasn't sure. Obviously, this is his first start for him. But it's just something to be aware of, and you're not going to win races when you can't maintain that forward position. Next two horses I'll talk about are just ones who made really good physical impressions. And I'm actually going to go with number 7 here, Runabout, who is off the Jeffrey Englehart reclaim. And maybe he's, as of now, not the winningest type, but he's won enough races in his lifetime. He just looks like a happy horse. He was energetic. He was the brightest in the paddock, brightest on the racetrack. And at 7-1, why not? As number 9 Perceived, he's kind of had a slide down the ladder as he steps back up for this 20 from the 12-5. He just looks good. And he is a horse that does tend to appear that way, but warmed up well, moving over the track nicely for Rudy Rodriguez, and maybe got a little bit of confidence out of that second place runner-up effort last time out, Greg.
Maggie, thanks. About to load up here for the nightcap here in South Ozone Park. It's the 5 Irish Honor who remains the favorite. Just looking at the board. The 1A Musical Heart. Big time back class, but the last 2 starts coming back, it's just not the same horse, obviously. Yeah. But this horse used to have a lot of talent. That's a big number.
I wouldn't bet him, but I won't be surprised if he wins. I picked the number 2 in this race. I didn't think they bet too much in the entry. I thought he's been in good form. But I'll be honest with you, nothing will surprise me. And listen, I picked Irish Honor second here, but I think to bet this horse at 9-5, you're taking all the worst of it. So like I said, I won't be surprised by any result in this race. I don't think there's a legitimate complete throwout in this race.
Yeah, too contentious a field to take 9-5 on anyone. And there's Musical Heart. This horse was competitive, ran good races against the great Mr. Buff. That was back in 2021.
Yeah, no, he was once the horse, but he's just not that horse anymore. But doesn't mean that he can't win this race.
There's the 7 Runabout stepping in. Manny Franco on the favorite, trying to win his 3rd on this Sunday card. There he is in those blue silks. Chris Griffin with the nightcap from Aqueduct.
Midnight Charlie moving forward. Perceived. Midnight Charlie to the outside. All in line. All set. And they're off. Good break for My Friend's Beer. Has got early speed. There's Bourbon Bay up on the outside. Is going to challenge as well. At the rail, here's Musical Heart. And Musical Heart now puts a nose in front. Bourbon Bay is going to go right with this pace setter. And they're head and head as they get set to come out of the chute. Just off of them is going to be Irish Honor. And to the outside of Irish Honor is My Friend's Beer. They're 3rd and 4th. Further back in the field is Midnight Charlie with Perceived in the red cap. Down towards the inside of that group comes Runabout. Towards the tail end of the field there is Dark Storm. And far back, Grump's Little Tots. Right where he likes to be is about double digits, the trailer, but a pace duel up front, 23.79. It's a moderate tempo early, and it's Musical Heart who's got the lead. Musical Heart is ahead in front of Bourbon Bay in second. A nice trip here from My Friend's Beer. My Friend's Beer is tracking right off of them, and Runabout is starting a move for Wyeth as they've got less than a half mile to go. They get set to move into the far turn. Musical Heart, Bourbon Bay, they've been at it throughout, and My Friend's Beer is now 3 wide. Runabout is coming after them as well, and Midnight Charlie with the run. Irish Honor is under a full drive, not making up the ground. Here comes the run from Dark Storm, the big long shot Perceived, and Grump's Little Tots still with 8 lengths to make up. Gets real tight there. Just having a check was Musical Heart. Just got shuffled back to 3rd. My Friend's Beer has got the lead. It's My Friend's Beer who turns for home, is now up by a full length and kicks away. My Friend's Beer now up by 2, 3 winding lengths Bourbon Bay, but My Friend's Beer is just opening up on this field. A furlong left to go. My Friend's Beer. Here's Irish Honor. Starts to collect some momentum to the outside of Dark Storm. My Friend's Beer approaches the 16th pole, is well in front. My Friend's Beer still up by 6. My Friend's Beer wins the finale. My Friend's Beer over Irish Honor. Then came Dark Storm, Perceived, and Grump's Little Tots in 1 minute 41.22 seconds.
No doubt about it. Winner here, My Friend's Beer, 7th victory of this 6-year-old's career.
Yeah, I mean, this was a race where you could feel like the whole way you might have the right horse if you bet this horse. Was sitting on a ton behind two horses that was battling it out, was able to take over from them. Sort of an odd race from the favorite, right? Irish Honor couldn't keep up on the backstretch, and they were moving a little bit and ended up passing a lot of horses to be able to get second, but a distant second to a no doubt about it winner. My Friend's Beer. It's a confusing name, right? Because there's no apostrophe in the Friends.
Pick 6. Hit.
Hit?
Hit.
Weren't the pick 5s paying astronomical amounts? How's that possible?
Did I get it wrong?
No, I'm not saying you got it wrong. I thought the pick 5s were paying like all
yeah, it's hit.
We're all 5 figures. How is that possible?
Hard to believe.
Was it the only horse covered?
Did not pay much different than the pick 5.
Pick 6 was hit. Oh my gosh, the 1, the 2, the 5, they were all hit.
Luis Rivera.
It paid worse. It paid half as much as the pick 5 because don't forget the pick 5 is 50 cents. Well, now to be fair, the first winner was a 280 horse. 220, was that heavy favorite. Still, wow.
2-5-3-9. My Friend's Beer. Luis Rivera aboard. 6-year-old son of Stay Thirsty. We'll have these prices for you when we come back.
An obligatory goes by the ball. And wins it. Here comes Malatha. Here comes Clariere on the outside. And it's got to be Clariere. Nest. Much the best. She won by better than 10 lengths. And Elite Power gets up to win the sprint outside. It's Malatha coming to the wire. Who's it going to be? Here's the wire. Oh, the wish has come true. That one's for you, Cody.
These are the trainers and teachers, the cooks, carpenters, and clockers, grooms and gardeners. These are the hard-working people who show up every day to keep horse racing running across the state. Good-paying jobs that support New York families, along with the thousands of local businesses that depend on Belmont Park. Modernizing Belmont Park would generate $1 billion in economic activity and protect and create thousands of jobs. Albany, create New York jobs. Modernize Belmont Park.
Honor AP, a mesmerizing horse from the very beginning, who captured the imagination of the racing world and proved his potential on the track. A Grade 1 winner, out of a multiple Grade 1 winner, with incomparable looks and an unbeatable pedigree. The speed, the bloodline, the physical. Honor AP. Only at Lane's End.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
We're back on America's Day of the Races on our FS1 coverage. Feature at Oaklawn. Effortlessly elegant, showing she can win from off the pace and showing she can run through anyone to get that win. What a performance. Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for the victory. He's with Paul.
With winning jockey here of the two, effortlessly elegant. It's really tough to say, Ricardo, but take us through your trip, because when you came back, I can understand a little bit of Spanish. You were saying the 3 was causing the problems there.
Well, I actually don't say that. I was more excited how she finished up. That's why I was pumped up. And we expected a lot about the filly. We was kind of disappointed when she ran in the stake. The horses feel we broke the 1. She don't break that day. And actually, I need to give you a lot of credit to Norma and the assistant. We raised the filly from the gate after she ran, and she rode really good. And today she proved that she's doing better now. And I was really excited with the filly today.
Yeah, I mean, especially a young horse like that to go through a hole like that, and she really had never been around 2 turns, because you were talking about her last race was sort of a throwout. Were you surprised that she was able to show that courage?
Well, I've been breezing the filly since in Churchill. The filly, Norman is doing a really nice job. When the filly, we're breezing from behind, we're breezing from the front, we're breezing inside, outside. And she's a filly that she's a fighter filly. And you guys can see in this race, the hole was really tight, and I have a confidence in the filly. That's why I take the shot to go in the hole, and that makes us the winner.
Well, that was a brave move by you. Congratulations to you and Norm Cassie as Ricardo Santana gets the job done on Effortlessly Elegant. This is a filly that's got a future.
Not just showing, thank you, Paul, that she can stretch out and win going long, but showing she can do it with a new dimension.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, yeah, you could say, yeah, she rated on the inside and all those things, but, you know, to fight through horses like that, and also with the 4 getting a complete sort of head of steam, Take Charge Brianna, and gain the lead, it's tough to pick up that ground on her. Now, you want to say to Take Charge Brianna move a little soon? I don't know. From a trip standpoint, Effortlessly Elegant probably had the worst of the two. The going is going to get tougher going forward. Whether or not she can beat better horses remains to be seen.
2-4-1, even money on your winner. Great meet for Norm Cassie continues. Meanwhile, back at Aqueduct, my friend's beer. Luis Rivera aboard for this victory. And first win of the year in 5 starts. Wins for fun.
Yeah, I mean, this horse really showed up today. This was a big improvement for him. I'm not familiar with his trainer at all, but ran very, very well, and better than he ran last time. He did a muddy track, but maybe we should keep an eye on this guy.
There we go, Penaloza, winning trainer.
Not really familiar with him, but this horse ran today. Wow.
Nice claim. $14.40. Close out the card. You see the pick 6 for $1. You had $38,531. The 50-cent pick 5, $35,685. Well done if you put those together.
I mean, the pick 6, wow. Paid half of what the pick 5 did, basically.
We're going to look back to Saturday's Grade 3 Whitmore and a big victory for trainer Chris Hartman. Tejano Twist finishing with a flourish.
Eclipse champion Blaine, a proven sire with over 15% lifetime stakes horses. His recent top runners include graded stakes winner and Kentucky Derby hopeful Litigate.
Litigate going to go on to win it here.
As well as Kentucky Oaks hopeful Wet Paint. Also an emerging broodmare sire, his stakes-producing daughters include the dam of Eclipse champion and Kentucky Derby favorite Forte.
Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Blaine, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Looms boldly, kicks for home, hugs the rail. It's Looms boldly.
On FS1, it's brought to you in part by Hill and Dale at Alapa. We still have the nightcap coming up at Oaklawn. We had such a fun Saturday card out in Hot Springs. Last Samurai, that victory for Dwayne Lucas in the Essex Handicap, and now it's on to the Oaklawn Handicap, it looks like, trying to win 3 in a row. Grade 3 Whitmore, Chris Hartman came in with 2 runners. Nice 1-2 punch of a speedster and a horse from off the pace. Gets his first graded stakes win in 5 years.
Yeah, he's now 1 for 24. He was over 22, as you pointed out. He ran 2 in here. There was really nothing from edge to edge. They moved a bit up front, but I don't think it was as wicked a pace as we kind of anticipated, so which I think makes the winner's performance, Greg, even that much more impressive.
Count Fleet likely next. That'll be April 15th for Tejano Twist. Talked about, all the speed in here really didn't sign up that way. It looked like Chris Hartman's other horse, Edge to Edge, was looking strong. That was a 4 in here. He backed up to 3rd in the end. Tejano Twist just finishing with a lot late.
Yeah.
And, we talked about that 3-race win streak for him coming to an end at the hands of Gunite. When there's not a Gunite around, he's been almost unbeatable.
I think there are a lot of people, especially at Oaklawn, that were extremely happy when they heard that Gunite was going over the Middle East.
Yeah, no
They
question.
just probably wish. There's probably a lot of people that wish he'd stay there for the rest of his career.
It's turned into a really nice sprinter, Paulie, for Chris Hartman.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, after the race, I was talking to Francisco Arrieta, and he said, man, I felt like I was on a quarter horse coming home. And, I've been to this racetrack now 3-4 months. You've seen horses roll down the middle of the racetrack, but not like that against some really, good competition. Edge to edge, Nicky Juarez coming off back-to-back 100 buyers was sitting there like a statue and looked like he was home free. And just in the blink of an eye, the turn of foot that this horse has is amazing. And going forward, Greg, you can argue now, okay, is he 3rd, 4th, 5th, maybe 6th best sprinter behind Gunite and obviously Elite Power. And Gunite was able to beat him last time by just rolling home in 11 and change, so he franked his form. But this is a horse that getting a little bit better and better out of the gate, because that's his one issue. If he could just settle out of the gate and break somewhere in the mid-pack, then I think he can start going up against those upper-level horses. But he's getting up there. I mean, for a sprinter right now, he reminds me a little bit of a Whitmore who used to own this racetrack. He's got a wicked turn of foot.
Horse who was on the Triple Crown Trail back as a 2-year-old. He actually was second to Epicenter in a 2-year-old prep in the Gunrunner. Going longer.
It's funny. It's funny when you see those races and horses' PPs, right, who they were. Sometimes you're surprised and you look back and you say, oh, I remember this horse. I didn't realize it's the same horse,
Here's what's coming up. Still a lot of good racing at Oaklawn. Some big targets like that Derby Trail in the Arkansas Derby. 100 points to the winner of that race for 3-year-old fillies, the Fantasy. And Count Fleet.
Obviously.
April 15th, later in the meet, where we'll likely see Tejano Twist again.
Yeah, and obviously a big day coming up April 1st. We should tell people we are not on the 25th next Saturday. Purple Martin. So if you're expecting to see the Purple Martin here, bad news. We never know who Greg Wolf likes in the Purple Martin.
We can still tweet out our picks. We still got the finale
now
coming up.
You're on record.
From Hot Springs. Stay with us. We'll be back right after this.
War Dancer. The momentum continues with recent stakes winners on turf and dirt. Dancing Buck going wire to wire in the Grade 3 Belmont Turf.
Dancing Buck has opened up on the field. It is Dancing Buck by a half dozen lengths.
And 2-year-old filly War Saichi with a wire-to-wire win in the Ladyfinger Stakes.
War Saichi asserted her authority immediately out of the starting gate, and she has not relinquished the lead.
War Dancer, the #1 third crop turf sire in North America. Proud to stand in New York.
Bet the racing action at Aqueduct, Oaklawn, and Santa Anita to score a $15 bonus each Sunday in March. Bet $50 on each track to take home $15, win or lose. Opt in at NyraBets.com.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
This season at Oaklawn, we've got more of everything. More of the top thoroughbreds in the world. More days of live racing. And the largest purses in our history. All at a completely reimagined Oaklawn. Come be a part of this historic season at Arkansas's only casino resort.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
We're back. America's Day of the Races. It's brought to you in part by legendary Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Finale in Hot Springs on this Sunday afternoon. Quick look at the odds for this Arkansas bred first allowance condition, 6 furlong sprint to close it out. Let's go to Paul for more.
Yeah, we're going to close out the card with the, like you said, a little Arkansas bred race here. Some fillies. I thought this was a difficult race. I mean, I had a ton on at least my defunct pick 5 that is now over with. But, you know, the 7's the horse to beat in here for Ronnie Moquett and Rafael Bejarano. Horse probably should have won last time. Had a ton of trouble, but is a horse that likes to come from out of it in a little bit. And it is the lowest will pays. I want to say about $57 for the pick 4, so well clear when it comes to the will pays. And I think a horse that's got a big shot. I don't know if you want to take a horse 2-1 in this big of a field. The 4 Chai Tea for Robert Klein and Kelsey R. This is a good combination. Oh, this horse is 1 for 17. I can't endorse it 9-2. I thought the 2 Fly Like the Wind. It ran pretty well last time out. Went to the front end. The owner actually just came by and was telling me, hey, the horse been training very well. And I'm wondering if this horse is going to go to the front or at least show a little bit of speed after that double. And you're getting 8-1 on that runner too as well. Choctaw Charlie, the 9's taking a little bit of money. You know, this horse was in for 16 non-2, got the job done. That's, I don't know. And then since then, I've kind of seen the same movie. Although that last race was okay, but I just don't know if he can win the race. And I'll tell you what, the 12 on the outside, you guys remember that name, Felipe Souza. This horse almost won last time at almost 40-1. I would not dismiss it 26-1. I thought the horse ran pretty well last time out. So I'm going to go with the 7, Samora for Ronnie Moquett at 2-1. I'm not giving you anything. I thought the horse should have won last time. And physically, you know, she just looks a lot bigger than these horses when these comes to these Arkansas bred. So I think she's going to run a giant race. I do think the outside horse, the 12 at 27-1, could surprise.
And that's who's on our screen right now, 5 Queens with Isaac Castillo.
I'm betting Robertino Diodoro off the claim at 7-1. I don't know. The 3, tap it right. He's claiming Arkansas breds for $10,000. You gotta love it.
What have you told me all me long?
Better with routers.
Yeah.
But he's 7-1.
It's a big number.
How can I resist it?
Samoria, certainly the 7 for Ron Moquett. Dangerous deserves to be favored in here. And Choctaw Charlie, of course, ran a really big figure last time out. 3rd, wound up being beat just a length, and that was off short rest. But really hasn't had a chance to build off races. It's going to get a chance to do that today.
I prefer Choctaw Charlie, the 2 horses you mentioned in here. I know the horse has got 5 seconds, but he's got 2 wins. And last figure I thought was pretty good. I thought he ran very well last time. I'm not some more as big as I thought this horse is overbet. It's been 5-2, 8-5, and 8-5 in 3 starts with 1 win. I don't know, man. This horse has a little bit of money burner written on him, doesn't he?
I'm with you. I think the 9's intriguing. You get 9-2 right now as well. Jonathan, where are you going to wind up?
Yeah, look, when I first looked at this race, I thought, throw a dart at the wall, and then I dug in a little bit deeper, and I actually kind of really like a horse, and that's the 2 Fly Like the Wind. This horse took money on debut, which we always like to see. Usually when a horse takes money first time out, some indication of some talent, some kind of buzz. People are talking about the horse working in the morning. Sometimes it can be connections, but it's not like Brett Calhoun is the first person that pops in your head when you think about first-time starters on the dirt. He does well enough, don't get me wrong. So the horse obviously has some talent. That was back in January, came back, a little bit over a month later in February, caught a sloppy racetrack, It ran extremely well. The pace was honest. Got an 86 time form US, which fits with what everyone else is running. And look, he's drawn inside. You think you're going to get an aggressive ride from Cabrera to kind of find some position moving forward, going 6 furlongs. I wish the horse was drawn outside. That'd be the only thing I could really change here. But ran extremely well last time, kind of being inside of some pressure. So, and I really like the 2 Fly Like the Wind, and I love the price as well. So while I thought my Naira Bets account was going to be closed, I'm going to have to open that bad baby back up.
Good luck, JK. 7-1 right now on the 2.
Seems like the speed. I don't know. I can't knock that pick. I'd like to, No, I agree with Jonathan. I think he makes very good points.
You look through this field, it seems like there's a lot of upside with that horse. I mean, lightly raced, breaks his maiden start number 2, her maiden, I should say.
And what am I missing about Samoria that this horse is 8-5 in here? I'm sorry, but other than the fact that I have a friend who's alive to all in the pick 4, which means the favorite sort of has to win, what the figures you look at, you have this horse with a big advantage?
Thoroughgraph numbers did pair up the last 2.
And that's a good thing.
But
I don't know.
Still has been a little slow.
Not saying the horse can't win, but I got to tell you, 8-5 in a 12-horse field, a Archie bred non-winners at 2, I'm looking elsewhere. I boxed 2, 3, 9 and bet a little to win the 3 Tap It Right. Like Jonathan, I wasn't going to open my Naira Bets account either, but the prospect of the last race that we could be betting on of this week, it was just too much to resist.
8-5 now in Samoria for Ron Moquette. The 6 Cantex, I know it was a state-bred maiden 40 race. It was a long time ago. It's December 21.
A long time ago. New Year's Eve. We were here together. You actually, I don't even know if
I
you
was.
Were we?
Believe I was.
You were
out
out of the country.
The course could be quick, you would think, and got a better number than you would think for that level. It's a long time away.
I'm not betting horses off 15 months layoffs. I'm just not doing it. Randy Morse, had that good day the other day, a couple of winners. I think one was a layoff horse. His layoff numbers overall, like a lot of traders, they're not that great. Winning off layoffs, not always an easy thing to do and not always the best thing to do. So we'll see.
Chai T, the 4, put up a big number last time out, but that horse, as Paulie mentioned, just 1 for 17. Choctaw Charlie. I think we agree probably that, obviously Jonathan likes the 2. But maybe outside of that horse right there, maybe the most likely winner in here. And you're getting 9-2 on the night.
Yeah, I don't understand why Choctaw Charlie is a significantly higher price than the 7 when you look at their recent form. And I know, he just had a couple of races this year, but I thought he ran very well last time. I'm not in love with him, but I think he's a very fair price. And listen, Oaklawn, we will see these prices change a lot very late. So maybe 8-5 and 9-2. Maybe they'll be 2-1 and 3-1 by post time. But
any kind of interest for the 11. The horse last time out, it was in this condition. Maybe needed that race a little bit and started to run late at least. Show some ability.
I've stayed away from these Louisiana Downs. The only big figure this horse ran, and it was close to good enough, was an off the turf race, Louisiana Downs. Not my kind of horse. I mean, listen, he's 35-1, and I'm not. If you like a 35-1 shot, you bet on them, but not from. I had the race open to 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 9. I didn't even like the. I'm not sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9. I don't even like the 7. I think the 7 is ridiculously overbet here. I'll guarantee his victory.
Nightcap coming up here from Oaklawn. 6 furlong sprint to close it out. Jim Byers the call.
Cantex steps in. Now she stepped back. Waiting for Cantex. Now she gets in there fully. And 5 Queens. She's moving up. 12 of them, all in line. And they're off. Fly Like the Wind on the inside. Cantex was out well. So was Samoria. And to the outside, Amazing Lace is racing in 4th. 2 then to Choctaw Charlie in 5th. 5 Queen, 6th on the outside. Mocha Kiss races 7th on the rail. Then the nearly white mare, Tap It Right, who is racing an 8th on the inside, followed by Chai Tea. She's in front of 3 runners, and they are Early Dismissal on the outside, Blow Some Smoke, and down on the inside, War Music as they circle around that far turn. Fly Like the Wind by ahead. And up to the outside, here comes Cantex to be a factor here on the front end, sharing the lead, followed by Samoria, who's racing in 3rd. Choctaw Charlie in behind him is 4th. Then toward the outside, 5 Queens, Tap It Right, Mocha Kiss on the inside. Cantex is taking over the lead for Garcia. They come to the final 16th, and it's Cantex off a long layoff, just drawing clear. Fly Like the Wind trying to hold 2nd. It's going to be Cantex by 4. Over Fly Like the Wind. Tight for 3rd between Mocha Kiss and a late-running War Music.
Year-and-a-half layoff, and huge step up in class. You only get 6-1 on
You did that to me. You intentionally found an opportunity for me to embarrass myself at the end of the show. I blame you for that. Nice performance by that horse.
It was. Next show, we are back Thursday, 3 Eastern, FS2. We will see you then. Coming up next on FS1, Searching for Shohei, an interview special. Looms boldly in the feature at Aqueduct. What a performance in the Damon Runyon. 2 wins the last 3 starts. Named after Pete Fornatel. He would have made Damon Runyon proud. Impressive couple of wins today for Manny Franco. We'll see you next week.